Super Naruto by Maverick 9871. Earth, third planet from a yellow sun. On this planet the people mourned as the body of Superman was placed into a space coffin made for him by the people of the Earth. The President of the United States said today we send our adopted son back to the stars from which he came to rejoin his people. He leaves us with his memory, his inspiration, and his hope for a peaceful world for us and our future generations. We say goodbye to you, Superman, and thank you. You may be gone, but you will never be forgotten. May your legend live on forever. At that moment the space coffin was launched into space. Many years later, on a planet similar to Earth, the space coffin of Superman began to enter a planet as a massive battle between the ninja of Konoha and the Kyuubi no Kitsune was taking place. Gamabunta stood in front of the Kyuubi with the Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze holding his infant son, having just finished the hand signs to summon the Shinigami, who was now reaching for the soul of the Kyuubi when the space coffin flew over Minato's shoulder, slamming into the Kyuubi body, making the Kyuubi scream out in pain and rage as the coffin broke his collarbone and left shoulder bone and damaging his heart. The Kyuubi screamed, "Damn you humans, I will return and kill you all." As he began to limp away in pain with the now empty space coffin still stabbed into his chest. As the Sandaime Hokage arrived beside the body of the Yondaime, he saw the seal on Naruto's stomach glowing, showing it was setting, and thought, but the Kyuubi alive and walking away, so what was sealed? As he picked up Naruto, Kakashi, who arrived, asked, "What happened, sir?" "I saw what looked like a meteorite slam into the Kyuubi shoulder." The Sandaime said, "Kakashi, take Naruto to my place and stay with him. Something was sealed inside him, but not the Kyuubi. It may have been Minato's soul or maybe part of that meteor." Kakashi asked, "What will you tell the people?" The Sandaime said the truth. The Yondaime was going to seal the Kyuubi into an orphan child, but the meteorite slammed into the Kyuubi before he could, and so the Yondaime who had summoned the Shinigami still lost his life. Kakashi said, "Okay. I will take him now." As he shoo-shined away with Naruto. 5 years later, Naruto was holding the body of his adopted father Asuma Sarutobi, crying as a missing nin laughed and said, "First the Sandaime's son and now the Yondaime's son." As he raised the bloody kunai up and slammed it down toward Naruto, who was looking at the kunai in fear as it made contact with his skin and broke into several pieces. The missing nin said, "What?" in shock. Naruto got over being scared and glared at the man, and the next moment the man was screaming as he felt intense heat on his head before it exploded. The Sandaime, who had came in right as the kunai broke, saw this and thought, so another ability appears. As he rushed over to check on Asuma and saw the wound to his heart and looked at Naruto sadly, and Naruto said, "He's gone, Gigi. Dad's dead. He killed him. He killed Dad and called me the Yondaime's son. Why?" As he began to cry, the Sandaime held his adopted grandson and said, "The world is a cruel place, Naruto. Bad things happen to good people." As he let a tear fall himself for the loss of his son and the innocence of his grandson. 10 years later the Sandaime Hokage was looking at the two people in his office. One was Hatake Kakashi, who was reading his Ika Ika Paradise book. Beside him was the newly promoted Jounin Kurina Yuhi. Just then a swirl of leaves appeared in the room and a ANBU with a demon design on his mask appeared, and the Sandaime said, Oni, just who we were waiting on." Oni said, "What is your orders, sir?" in a neutral tone. The Sandaime pulled out a file and said, "Naruto Sarutobi, age 15, Genin at age 5, Chunin at age 7, Sannin apprentice at the age of 8, became a fire temple guard at the age of 10, ANBU at the age of 12 and ANBU captain at age 14. Mission history, 46S rank, 91A rank, 111B rank, 57C rank, 86D rank. You have never failed the missions. That is quite a record you have there, Oni. Please remove your mask." Oni reached up and removed his mask, showing his blue eyes with black centers, and pulled back his cloak and showed blonde spike hair with flat black hair mixed in. Sarutobi smiled and said, "There, I never did like talking to you with that mask." I am sure you already know Kakashi. Naruto smiled and said, "It's good to see you again, Captain." Kakashi said, "We're both the same rank now, Naruto. I am no longer your captain, but both your fathers would have been proud of you." Naruto nods, smiling slightly, and looks at Kurenai and smirked, and Kakashi giggled, knowing what Naruto just did, and Naruto said, "Naruto Sarutobi, and you are?" Kurenai said, "Kurenai Yui Naruto-san," in a polite but neutral tone. Sarutobi coughed and said, "Now the reason you are here, Naruto, I am removing you from ANBU and giving you a promotion to Jounin." Naruto's smile turned to a frown and said, so what is it this time? Bastards on the council wouldn't let me out of ANBU without a pretty damn good excuse." Kurenai looked confused and shocked by the lack of respect, and Kakashi said, "Naruto is a special case, Kurenai. He has several unique abilities that make him a good candidate for a lifetime ANBU operative, and the council has been pushing for that since he was 5 years old and these abilities first appeared. It was only thanks to the Sandaime stepping in and passing several restrictions that you have to be at least a Chunin for a set amount of time that kept him from being drafted into the ANBU then," Naruto said, "and the buzzards have been abusing me ever since. All those B-ranking hires I did once I entered ANBU. Kakashi must think very highly of you for some reason if he goes out of his way to tell you about why I act like a jackass sometimes when the council is involved. So what's her story, Kakashi? Why the informal history lesson?" Sarutobi said, "Kurenai here is a rookie jounin like yourself, Naruto. 21 years old. She was Rookie of the Year her graduating class and graduated a year early. She is a Genjutsu specialist and—" Naruto said, "She was Yakumo-sensei for a little while also, right? Now I remember where I heard your name from." Kurenai's eyes widened slightly, and she looked at Naruto, and Sarutobi said, "Yes, remember when I mentioned about having someone seal off her abilities, Kurenai? Well, the person I was referring to was Naruto here." Naruto said, "But luckily I discovered another way out. Turns out her trouble was from a minor demon who was drawn to her powers of Genjutsu and added to them to make her do his bidding. I encountered the demon and destroyed him. I understand her clan has taken her back in and has been helping her get stronger, if I heard correctly." Kurenai turned back to the Sandaime, who nods and said, "Yes, she has. In fact, she will be placed with a Genin team this time around, which brings us to why you are here. I have already gave out the other team assignments this year, but I had 3 teams left. Team 7 is a must-pass team consisting of Sasuke Uchiha, Shikamaru Nara, and Choji Akimichi, and as you have probably guessed, Kakashi, that is your team. Kurenai, I know you requested to have Hinata with your team, but the Kurama clan has asked that you take Yakumo again now that the problem has been taken care of. They have faith in you and your abilities, Kurenai. Also, Hinata has been requested by the Hyuga clan and the council to be placed on another team. Now Team 8 will be Kiba Inuzuka, Shino Aburame, and Yakumo Kurama, and that will be your team." Naruto frowned and said, "So I got a Hyuga, huh? What about the heiress to the Yamanaka clan? I was sure we were going to have a repeat of the Inoshika-cho group." Sarutobi said, "Originally that was what I wanted. However, the councils and clans have requested a change-up and made several convincing arguments that have convinced me to give you this team." As he handed a folder to Naruto. Naruto took it and began to read it and said, "I see, another have-to-pass team, huh? So who do I kill to get this clusterfuck corrected right? I mean, I see what the bastards are trying to do and I don't agree with it." As he closed the folder, Sarutobi said, "Well, the council made the team's request, but I approved it." Naruto gave him a deadpan look and said, "You're not above my wrath, Gramps. The council basically said these 3 girls are so useless the only use they would be for the village is breeding stock, and they are wanting me to tie them down and fuck them. Give me one reason I shouldn't slaughter them and you for agreeing with this." Kurenai frowned as she looked at Naruto and Sarutobi, and the Sandaime said, "Because I want you to prove the council is wrong about them. While I agree as the girls as they are now, they are little to no use because of 2 of them being fangirls for the Uchiha and the other one has a lot of emotional baggage. I believe that you could change that though. Naruto said, so I get to screw the council by turning these girls into true ninja. Is that my understanding? Sarutobi nods and Naruto thought a moment and said fine, but I do it my way. I'll either turn them into proud kunoichi of Konoha or break them into so many pieces they will never be put back together. Scaring Kurenai for Hinata's sake. The Sandaime nods and Naruto said good. If they don't quit today then they won't take a mission for the next 3 months. I also want the playground. Kakashi snickered and Sarutobi paled and said, are you sure, Naruto? I mean, isn't that a little dangerous? Kurenai looked confused and asked the playground. Kakashi said the playground is a code word for Training Ground 44, also known as the Forest of Death. Naruto calls it the playground because he was forced to become a shinobi after his stepfather, Asuma Sarutobi, was killed in front of him by a missing nin. The Sandaime was Naruto Genin instructor and used Training Ground 44 to train. Naruto called it his playground because while other kids were making friends and playing with rocks and sticks, he was playing with kunais and jutsu. It's his playground. Naruto, who had enough, did a leg sweep taking Kakashi off his feet while he was talking and placed his foot on Kakashi's chest and said enough. Why are you so hard up to make sure I don't piss the lady off? Kakashi glanced at the Sandaime from the floor who sighed and said the council has made a motion that if you don't produce an heir by the time you're 18, they'd be allowed to turn you into breeding stock as well as the Uchiha. Naruto growled and turned, slamming his fist into the desk, breaking it, and said, why the fuck are you letting the council get away with so much, Gramps? Why won't you let me kill them and get it over with? Sarutobi said, because they discovered the truth about who you really are. You and Konohamaru are the only family I have left in the world, and the council discovered the information I falsified to protect you and denying you your real name and all that comes with it. They told me that if I don't agree to certain things like this law and this Genin team, they will publicly announce who you really are. Naruto closed his eyes and said, damn it, I hate those bastards, especially the 2 old crones and the one-armed bastard. As he slumped into the chair in front of the Hokage desk and put his feet on it. Naruto looked at Kurenai and said, my real name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, son of the Yondaime Hokage of Konoha and Kushina Uzumaki, Princess of Whirlpool Country. My mother was supposed to be given to IWA to marry the Tsuchiki's son to solidify the peace agreement between IWA and Whirlpool. She asked for amnesty here before the marriage and my father agreed and let her have it, and later they fell in love. If IWA had found out that she was here, they would have demanded her to be handed over or start another war. If my identity was released, I would be forced to return to Whirlpool as the prince of that country and be used to marry someone in IWA. The missing nin that killed my stepfather was from IWA, and he only was listed in IWA bingo book as a missing nin a week after he killed my dad, so we believe his attack was ordered by IWA. Sarutobi said I would also be removed from office and the council would elect another person as Hokage, since they would claim I was trying to start another war by interfering with foreign policies, and the person who would be most likely elected would be Danzo, who would turn Naruto into the village's secret weapon because of his special abilities. Kurenai frowned and said, so I was allowed to know all this because you were trying to give Naruto a chance to maybe try and be with me. Kakashi said, sorry Kurenai, and it's nothing personal with you, but my sensei was the Yondaime, Naruto father, and I feel like his older brother, and as you heard, the Sandaime is his grandfather, so we are trying to give him a chance at a normal life instead of being forced into things like the council has been doing. The only chance he has is to find someone and fall in love with them in 3 years and produce an heir. Naruto not known to many since we tried to hide his achievements from the general population, which is why you most likely never heard or seen him before, and I am not trying to play matchmaker, but I didn't want you to get the wrong impression of him, because of how the council are playing hardball tactics, especially since I know of your relations with Hinata Hyuga from my friend Anko, and since Naruto and her are both being put in a bad situation as you heard, that you might go out of your way to make his life hell with the other females of the village, since you are so well respected. If you blackball someone, then most of the village females would blackball that person as well, and with such a short deadline, being blackballed would make him having any normal life impossible. That is why the Sandaime and I are both trying to make you aware of why things are happening. Kurenai sighed and asked what is so special about you that the council is going to so much effort for you. Naruto glanced at the Sandaime, who said, "It's your choice, Naruto." Naruto sighed and said, "The day the Kyuubi attacked Konoha, I was supposed to have it sealed in me by my father to save the village." Kurenai said, "I know that, or at least we knew it was an orphan. I didn't know it was you. We learned that a meteorite hit the Kyuubi, making it jump back before he could complete the jutsu." Naruto said, "Well, he had completed the jutsu, but something in that meteorite was absorbed into the seal, and for 4 years the seal drained whatever it was and gave it to me until it finished and went away. I should be either completely blonde hair or have red hair, not black, and my eyes should be completely blue or green, not black. Those are just a few of the changes that were caused by the sealing. Also there is this." As he took out a kunai and stabbed it against his hands, and it shattered. Naruto said, "My skin has become harder than steel. I have super hearing where I can hear a person's heartbeat several hundred feet away. My eyes are special also. I can concentrate and send out a heat beam with my eyes that when focused on one spot can kill a person. The missing knee that killed my dad, when I activate that power, his head exploded from the heat." Kurenai was shocked and asked, "No wonder they want you to produce an heir. They believe it's a bloodline. Is there anything else?" Naruto said, "No. There's 3 other abilities I have learned I have. One is I can move at speeds as fast as my father's Hiraishin jutsu. Another is the ability to fly." Kurenai asked, "Fly?" With a skeptical look on her face, and her eyes widened, and Naruto began to float in the air. Kurenai was shocked, and Naruto said, "My last ability is I can see up to 3 miles away, and I can see through things." Kurenai asked, "Like a Hyuga?" Naruto said, "Sort of. The Hyuga can see 360 around them and see a person chakra network. I can look at a person and see their organs, bones, veins, muscles, and things like that." Kurenai blinked and narrowed her eyes and said, "And cloths?" Naruto said, "It dispels any genjutsu placed on me also. That was how I was able to destroy the demon in your student. It is also how I know what you have one on right now and can see what you're hiding." Kurenai quickly covered herself across her chest and her privates, making Kakashi and the Sandaime raise their eyebrow, and the Sandaime started to put his hands together, and Kakashi reached for his Hishiate, and Naruto said, "Either of you even attempt it, I will use my heat vision on your balls." Besides, Kurenai only changed her cloths she really has on. She's not nude or anything like that. I say she was relaxing when she was summoned here, since it's just a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, so get your minds out of the gutters." As he turned to her and winked before looking at the 2 perverts. Kurenai blushed and moved her hands away, and Kakashi asked, "Then why did she act the way she did?" Naruto said, "Most likely because she doesn't want people to make fun of the gag gift Anko gave her she's wearing." Kurenai said, "You know Anko?" With a surprised look on her face, Naruto said, "Yeah, ask her about Superman." Kurenai's eyes widened and screamed, "Wait, you're Superman?" Naruto removed his cloak, and Kurenai's eyes widened and she blushed and said, "Those can't be real." Kakashi said, "Trust me, they're real. His body adapts to any training it gets and only increases without ever losing what it gains." Naruto said, "Enough about me. Now I don't give a flying fuck what the council thinks or what they try to pull. Now Kurenai here is allowed a chance to make up her own mind what she thinks about me, and if she wants to blackball me with the woman of the village, then she has every right to, because I don't intend to let the council get what they want and will fight it every way I can. If I have to mentally, emotionally, and physically destroy those 3 girls to do it, I will." Kurenai said, "But..." Naruto glared at her and said, "No, Kurenai. These genin are our responsibilities. If we don't prepare them for the challenges they face, then they will die at an early age. Do you want their deaths on your conscience? The council has said those 3 girls on my team are so worthless that they don't even qualify as civilians, because the council could have as easily demanded me to be with civilian woman. When they see that I haven't fucked their brains out after a little time to get to know them, they will promote them to Chunin and send them to some whorehouse in another village to be a spy for the rest of their lives. Most likely a small village where nothing of value or importance even matter. Just punishment for failing to seduce me. Do you think I should pamper them and take it easy on them? If so, then I feel sorry for you and your team because they will die young and it will be your fault. Now if you will excuse me, I've got 3 girls to scar for life. As he shoe-shined away, Kurenai was red-faced and Sarutobi coughed and said, "Sorry about my grandson, Kurenai. It's just..." Kurenai interrupted him and said, "Save it, Hokage-sama. As much as I hate to admit it and as much as I don't like it, he's right. But I have to ask, is he always so?" Kakashi said headstrong. Sarutobi said determined. Kakashi said brash. Sarutobi said idiot. Kurenai said, "Well, all those, but I was going to say passionate. Most guys I know would jump at the chance he's been given, and he seems like he really is worried about those girls and their future." Sarutobi said, "It's not exactly worry, but anger." Kurenai asked, "What do you mean?" Sarutobi said he had a normal life until Asuma was killed, and he accidentally killed the missing Nin. A death like Asuma can't be covered up, and so word had spread quickly about it, and the council found out that Naruto was the one who killed him somehow, which I am still not sure how they found out. They moved for him to begin training to use these abilities and the full extent of them. His abilities sparked enough interest that they were willing to hand him over to Danzo to be placed in Root, which is another ANBU division outside of my control. To protect him, I was forced to take him as my apprentice and make him a genin. Within days of the only man he knew of as a father death, he learned he was adopted, a prince, the truth about the ceiling, and being forced to begin training to learn to kill at the age of 5. He never had a choice in the matter of the ceiling, he never had a choice in becoming a ninja, and he never had a choice at being basically a weapon to be used by the village. Now he's been ordered to take charge of those 3 girls who the council said are so weak they can't be of use as regular ninja. When his life's been forced to be a ninja and those girls had a choice in the matter and they, for whatever reason, act as if it is just some game to the point the council sees them as useless. Kurenai lips, who had pursed together, said he considers them an insult to everything he was forced to sacrifice and will either make them shape up or ship out. Sarutobi nods and Kurenai closed her eyes and said, "Sir, I know it's not my place, but can you ask him one thing for me? Hinata is in a bad situation, and if she quits being a ninja, her family will put the cage bird seal on her." Sarutobi said, "Kurenai, I'll pass the message to him." Kurenai said, "Thank you, Hokage-sama. I guess we better go get our students." Kakashi said, "You say something." Kurenai glared at him and he said, "I'll be there shortly. I've got something I need to do first." Kurenai nods and left in a swirl of leaves. After she was gone, Kakashi asked, "What do you think?" Sarutobi said, "I think we should let things play out for now." Kakashi nods and said, "Understood, sir." As he left. At the academy, when Kurenai arrived, she was surprised to see Naruto and the other sensei standing there, and Naruto said, "We have to wait until Irika finishes his speech." Kurenai nods and said, "Naruto?" Naruto asked, "Yeah." Kurenai bit her lip and said, "Don't be consumed by what you hate." Naruto snorts and pulled out a cig and a lighter and lighted it up, and Kurenai said, "Put that out. You're too young to be smoking and it's not healthy for you. It will kill you." Naruto looked at it a moment and took a puff of it and said, "One could only hope, Kurenai. At least then I would know I'm normal." Kurenai's eyes widened and thought, it's not just the fact the way others treat him when they learn about his abilities. It's also the fact he doesn't consider himself human anymore, as she got in front of him and took the cig out of his mouth and said, "None of us are normal, we're ninjas." Naruto snorts and said, "Careful, Ice Queen. I might start thinking you're melting," causing a few other jounin to snicker. Kurenai blushed and said, "So you have a thing for older woman, kid?" As she batted her eyelids at him, Naruto choked and said, I quit being a kid when I was 5. Women are not the only ones trained in the arts of seduction, my dear. See, The question I should be asking is, are you into younger men, because you have a reputation of shooting down those older than you and around your age? Do I need to ask the Hokage to keep an eye on your student-teacher relations? Causing everyone in the room to laugh at Kurenai's expense. Kurenai glared at Naruto and said, at least I don't have the council giving me 3 female genin to be my fuck toys. Causing the other jounins to go wide-eyed as they looked at Naruto. Naruto said, true. I admit that is what my genin team is given to me for, but if you want to see my response to this, then see what I am about to do to them. As he walked past her, bumping her shoulder with his, making her wince as he walked into the classroom. All the other jounins began to enter the room minus Kakashi, and Naruto walked to the front of the class and said, Team 10 front and center. All the genin in the room looked at Naruto like he was crazy, and he said, I am a jounin assigned as the sensei of Team 10. Unless you want me to fail your asses and send you back to the academy again for lessons about following your superior's orders, then I would step forward. Ino, Sakura, and Hinata stepped forward, and Naruto looked at them and said, looks like I got a great team this time. I mean, you 3 must be very proud of yourselves to have your clans, and the council request you all be put on the same team. The first time 3 girls are put on the same team in the history of our village. You must be really special, huh? Ino and Sakura both beamed with pride, and Sakura said, hell yeah, cha. Naruto nods and said, I mean it. Your skills are so great that the council feels that the only use you 3 are to the future of this village are as sluts, bitches, and whores. Causing everyone in the room to go wide-eyed. Ino and Sakura both became embarrassed, and Ino screamed, what the hell? Who do you think you are talking to? Naruto began to unleash some of his ki and said, shut up, bimbo, or in the words of a real kunoichi friend of mine, I'll be pulling your hair as I ride your ass. Your team was designed with one purpose in mind. To be used as breeding stock by me. Sakura stuttered, what? Naruto said, that's right, cocksucker. The council and your clans in their infinite wisdom specifically asked for you 3 to be assigned to me as students because you suck so bad you don't even qualify as civilians, much less kunoichi. Ino said, you're lying. Angrily. Naruto said, really? I just left a meeting with the Hokage, who said that he is forced to agree with the council estimates on you 3. He told me to do with you as I see fit because you 3 are currently useless. He told me that the council wishes to breed my new bloodline as quickly as possible and that you 3 were chosen by them to produce heirs with my bloodline. The council could have asked a civilian to do the same thing, since all I really need to do it is a hole with hair around it, but they thought that the civilians were too good to be used for this, and so they chose you. At this point, all 3 girls were beginning to cry, and Naruto took out another cig and lighted it and said, but... Sakura asked, but, nearly completely destroyed, but asked with all the hope she had left. Naruto blew out his smoke in their faces and said, but he also told me that he sees something in you 3 that could become useful to this village in another way. He does not completely agree with the council and your clan's views, as he believes that you 3 could become kunoichi of Konoha. I don't know anything about you 3, and I don't want to know anything about you. From what I have heard, you are currently no better than 3 hookers. When you fuck a hooker, you don't want their names as bitch, slut, or whore is all you need to call them. I'm not wanting to spend my time with hookers when I could be trying to have a relationship with a beautiful, sexy, and skilled kunoichi like Red Eyes over there. I am being paid to train 3 kunoichi, not civilians, and not free pussy. Right now you have a choice. You can either accept the view the council and your clans have on you and turn your Hishiaden right now and leave this room to try and become at least civilians to this village, or you can grow a backbone and tell the council and your clans to kiss your ass and prove them wrong, and begin training under me. I won't baby you, and I won't be your friend. I will run you into the ground where you will want to die, where you will think lying on your back and being fucked in a whorehouse would be better than the training I will put you through, and earn not only my respect, but also the Hokage, the council, and your fellow ninja, both shinobi and kunoichi. I warn you though, I only get paid to train you to be kunoichi. If you decide to enter my training and decide you don't want to be a kunoichi, or that you can't handle it, meaning I won't be paid for all the time I wasted on you 3, I will take my payment out on you. taking every ounce of innocence you have and then take away your ability to have children or even be called woman. I'm going to walk out that door and walk to the front gate of the academy. When I see you three again, I either want to see civilians or kunoichi. I don't want to see sluts, bitches, or whores. If you walk out this building with those hishiate on, then that tells me you accept my rules for training. Your body belonged to me to do with as I see fit. I will either mold you into proud kunoichi of Konoha or turn you into discarded trash that is useless to everyone and should be destroyed. It's your individual choice at this point. As he put his cigarette out on the desk behind him and walked out the door. Everyone was wide-eyed as Kurenai thought, oh God, he's completely destroyed them, Hinata. As she started to move when she felt a hand on her shoulder and saw Kakashi, who said, don't, this is something those three have to choose for themselves. Kurenai glared at Kakashi and Ino said in a hysterical voice, he's lying, he's got to be, we're not useless, are we, sensei? As she looked at Irika. Irika swallowed, and before he had a chance to speak, Sasuke said, of course you are. You're not even worthy of being civilians, like he said. You're fangirls. You and Sakura are so weak and pathetic that the council had to come up with some way to make up for all the funding they lost on you both. Then there is Hinata. A Hyuga, the weakest clan in Konoha. Even their fighting style shows they are weak. The gentle fist, please, you're all nothing but weak, pathetic failures. Look at Hinata, she's so ashamed of her weakness, she shack. Ugh. As he began to cough, as Hinata's right hand that was glowing with chakra was touching his neck where his voice box had been. Hinata, whose head was down, said in a cold, defiant voice that startled everyone, shut up, just shut up. As she looked up at Sasuke, glaring at Sasuke. Hinata stepped back away from him and said, my entire life, everyone has told me that I am weak, a disgrace, useless. I'm tired of it. You think you're so great, that you're something special, when in truth, you're the weak one, the failure. You're so pathetic that Itachi couldn't even bring himself to kill you. If you ever say anything about me again, I will finish what Itachi started. As she was shaking with tears going down her face. She turned and began to weakly go toward the door, and Kurenai stepped forward and said, Hinata. In a caring tone. Hinata shook her head and said, no. Not now, not anymore. I'm tired of father, the elders, my family, the villagers, the council, the Hokage. I'm tired of everyone saying I'm nothing. I want to prove them wrong. As she moved toward the door. Sakura bit her lip and started toward the door, and Ino said, forehead. Sakura said, she's right, Ino. I don't want people saying those things about me. I've acted no better than a slut chasing after Sasuke, losing my friendship with you, changing my dream from being the first ninja in my family to impress Sasuke, changing my likes and the way I act because it's what he wanted. For what? To be seen as a useless, as no better than a baby factory. I don't want that life, Ino. I want to be someone my family could be proud of. He said he would train us to be real kunoichi. To be proud kunoichi of Konoha, that is what I want. I don't care what I have to do, I've already gave up everything for less. As she walked out the door, Ino looked at Sakura retreating back, and she lowered her head and asked, you, the red-eyed lady, is it true, the things about the council, the Hokage, and my clan, did they really put me on a team just to be used like that? Kurenai closed her eyes and said, yes. From what I heard, that was the general idea the council had for your team. The Hokage and your sensei want you to prove them wrong, though. That was why they agreed to the team, but he had no right to tell you those things. Ino shook her head and said, it hurts. It hurts to hear those things said about me, but it hurts worse knowing my father sees me that way. My dad is on the council, as are both my godfathers, and my two friends that I see as brothers, that they stood by and let me get to this point, where I am a laughingstock, where all my dreams and all my hopes for the future are destroyed because it's too troublesome to say something, or that I'm not bite-size, that the guy I've crushed on sees me as nothing, the guy I sacrificed so much for. as she turned around driving her sandal-covered foot into Sasuke nuts, making him choke out again as his eyes rolled into the back of his head as all the guys in the room covered themselves and winced. Ino huffed and said, I may hate him for saying those words to us, but I also respect him and want to thank him for doing it. I'm going to show my father, my so-called friends and family, the council, the Hokage, Dickless, Sensei, and most importantly myself that I am a proud kunoichi of Konoha, that I'm not some kind of sex toy or eye candy. Now if you will excuse me, but I'm going to meet my sensei, and try to get my best friend back. As she marched out of the room, Kurenai watched her leave and she said, Kakashi, right now I don't know if I should kill him or thank him. Just tell him to stay out of my way for now, and that if anything happens to any of those 3 girls I'll kill him. Teammate, come with me. As she walked out the door, Kakashi looked at Sasuke and shook his head. Outside the academy, Naruto stood leaning against the walls of the support wall for the gate, and he thought Erosanin was right. It's always the quiet ones you have to watch out for. So Pinky was next. I thought she would be the follower of those 2. Ouch. There goes the Uchiha clan. As he watched what was happening in the class with his X-ray vision and listened to what was said, Hinata, after she walked out, walked to Naruto, who held up his hand and signaled to wait. When Sakura walked up moments later, she saw the signal and waited beside Hinata, and a few minutes later Ino walked out as well. Naruto looked at all 3 with a piercing gaze, and he said, so all 3 of you have decided you wish to be kunoichi, with some that might gain you their respect, but not enough for me, because actions speak louder than words, and all your actions told me is that you might be more than I have been led to believe, but we will see in the future if you have what it takes or not. As he pushed off the walls and put his hands on his hips and said, now I am not here to train an individual person. I am here to train a team of kunoichi. That means that if you succeed or fail, then you are going to have to work with the other 2 girls here and support them as they support you. You will eat together, sleep together, bath together, breath together, live together, pass together, fail together, and die together. If one of you fails, all 3 of you fail. If one of you quits, all 3 of you quit. You must have inner strength and a strong will in yourself, and you must also have faith and trust in your teammates. If you don't have that, then you're not worth my time. I will give you one last chance to save yourself from my wrath should you decide that you either can't handle the pressure or that you can't trust the other 2 girls here with your life. If you can't, then hand me your Hishiate and leave. As he held out his hand, all 3 girls glanced at each other, and Ino said, we won't quit. We're not afraid of you. In a defiant tone, Naruto smirked and said, you will be. As he unleashed a small amount of Ki. Each of the girls began to gasp a little, and Naruto stopped his Ki and said, very well. From this moment on, you 3 are Team S. The S will depend on what you do in the future. Now here are the rules of the team. I will not give you individual instructions. I will give instructions to you as a team. I don't know your names and I don't want to know. I am not here to be your friend. I am your sensei, and as such you will refer to me as sensei. I will not give you my name because I only give it to those I respect. I don't care what clan you're from, what their views are, what they want you to learn or do. Those views and actions are what lead us here to this point. If you 3 are truly serious about this, then you will consider me the final word of power here. I do not want to be asked questions or hear your opinions or comments about my training. When I give orders, you will answer yes, sensei, or no, sensei. You will not question my orders or training unless I ask you if there are any questions. I will not babysit you, as your life will depend on each other, not me. If I don't properly explain how to do something, then it means that you are supposed to think for yourself and figure out what is missing and learn those lessons. You need to learn to become leaders who take charge of their life, not follow the orders of those who want to fuck you. I do not want to fuck you. I am being ordered to fuck you. Right now you 3 are not worthy of my time, much less my love. Do you 3 understand what I am saying? Each of the girls said yes, sensei. Naruto said, good. Now then, the first thing we are going to do is get you out of those hooker cloths you have on and get you some training cloths. This is not a shopping trip for you. I will take you to the store I shop at for my ninja supplies, and I will tell you what to pick out, and you will get them and then change into them. We will then leave and begin training. You will not go home today or go get something you want to bring with you. We are going into what I call my personal playground. It is the most dangerous place in the fire country. It is a place with poisonous plants, killer insects, dangerous animals like wolves, bears, tigers, snakes, and other predators. There are also some minor demons in this place, and they would like nothing more than to eat you because demons find female virgin blood very appetizing, but they will settle just for female blood. I am not here to train little girls who need their mommy or daddy to hold their hands. Now do you understand? Each of the girls responded, though you could hear the little bit of fear in their voices, and Naruto said, "Good, then follow me and do not speak unless I give you permission. You are not worthy of speaking to the people we are going to meet, because the owner of this store was a true shinobi most of his life until he was injured, and his daughter is a true kunoichi who is just a year older than you three, but she has earned my respect. If they call me my name, you are not to use it until I personally give it to you." As he started to walk away from the academy. 20 minutes later, Team S walked into the Wolf Claw weapon shop, and a man behind the counter smiled and said, "Naruto, how can I help you today, and who are these three?" Naruto said, "Hello Dustin, how are you today?" Dustin said, "Fine." Naruto said, "The three behind me are a team the council decided I needed to be of use to the village. You can probably read between the lines on that to understand what those needs are, since this is the first 3 female genin team ever." Dustin scowled as each of the girls looked down, and he said, "I see, so what are you here for?" Naruto said, "I brought these girls here to get some proper equipment and send the bill to the council. They want the Mato series version 3 uniforms." Dustin choked and said, "Are you sure?" Naruto nods, and Dustin walked into the back and came back with 3 orange spandex outfits with pockets all over them, and Naruto walked through the store and came back with 3 ninjata, 3 botons, 3 boxes of shurikens, 3 boxes of kunais, 3 bundles of ninja wire, 3 first aid kits, 3 boxes of blank scrolls, 3 bottles of sealing ink, 3 flint rocks, 3 sleeping bags, 3 sets of trench knives, 6 weapon pouches, 3 Chunin-style vest, 3 weapon sharpening kits, 3 heavy-duty backpacks, and 3 scrolls with the word Kunoichi on it. Naruto said, "I think that will be everything." Dustin said, "A little bit of everything, huh?" Naruto said, "Yeah, you have the scrolls for those outfits, right?" Dustin nods, and Naruto turned and said, "All right, Team S. Here's 3 copies of everything you need. The outfits are one size fits all, and remember my rules. Now in the right corner of the room are the undergarment sections. I want you all to go and get 5 pairs of panties and 5 pair of boxers in your size, and then take one of everything here but the weapon pouches, since you need 2 of them, and go into the dressing room and put them on. I will not tell you how to get dressed, and if you're not able to dress yourself at your age, then I will kill you. The ninjato goes on your back, as does the boten. Now go." Each of the girls quickly began to move and got their equipment and went into the dressing room, and Dustin raised an eyebrow and said quietly, going a little rough on them, "Aren't you?" Naruto glanced around and said quietly, "2 of them are heiress of their clan. For the vengeful trio to get them in this without their clans objecting something's up, and it's more than just breeding. See if your gambling buddies can come up with anything, and if so, contact Kakashi." Dustin frowned and said, "By gambling buddies you mean them, right?" Naruto glared at him, and Dustin flinched and said, "Right. I'll get on that right away." Naruto smiled and said, "Thanks. Triple the order when you send in the bill to the council, and make me 3 custom for the girls. I'll leave it to you to design them, but I want the full array on them." Dustin nods and said, "Now you look halfway like Kunoichi." As he saw all 3 girls walk out in orange spandex outfits with black vest, a weapon pouch on each hip, the ninjato and boten were over their left shoulders. Naruto said, "Good, Now did you arm yourselves or just throw those weapons in your bag? If you did, then take half out and put them in your weapon pouch. Always keep half of your weapons at the ready. Also the scroll with the word kunoichi on it. It has a year of female hygienic products from soap, shampoo, bindings, to female-only products. This was designed by Dustin's daughter Tintin to save a kunoichi time and effort having to get these items while preparing for an emergency mission. I don't know how long your training will take. It could take over a year, so use your supplies sparingly, and if it does take longer, if you impress me, then I will get you another scroll. Now I am sure you all realize that your outfits are eyesores and you're wondering why orange. The answer is because you are going to have to defend yourself most of the time, and if you get separated in this area you would be easy to be overlooked in other clothing, but this orange will make it easier for you to see each other. Also, as you walk through the village you are going to see people snicker, laugh, or talk about you. I chose these outfits because the same people who are going to do it in front of you have been doing it for years behind your back. Today you will see their reactions to you and how they see you. I want you to remember those looks and keep your quiet and heads up. Don't let them break you, because these are the people you're going to have to also prove yourself to. Now let's go. See you, Dustin, and tell Tintin I said good luck with emo and youth. Dustin said I will, and take care. As Team S walked through the village, the girls saw the snickers and heard the whispers of the villagers, and they each wanted to do something or say something and was about to explode when Naruto said, endure it. Use it later to help in your training. When things get tough, remember those looks and the feeling you feel right now. The world is a cruel place. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. As he closed his eyes, remembering those words from his grandfather, and thought, it's not fair. I have these powers and abilities that make me different, and I could do so much for so many. But here I am destroying these 3 girls to make them into something they're not, and for what? When they got to the gates to the Forest of Death, Naruto sighed and said, all right team, sit down. Now I think I should start off by saying I'm sorry. Making the girls look confused. Naruto said, while what I said earlier was true, the way I went about saying it and the things I said shouldn't have been said to you. I was angry at you 3, and at the council, your clans, and the Hokage. I see the confused looks you have, so I guess I can start off by telling you what exactly made me upset. You all know the story about how the Yondaime was going to seal the Kyuubi into a newborn child the day it attacked. That child was me. I was to be sacrificed for the safety of the village, and my own parents who died that day offered me to be used. I was adopted by Asuma Sarutobi, the Sandaime's son, and lived with him until I was 5, believing him to be my own father, until an IWA missing nin broke into our clan house, killing him in front of me, and then tried to kill me. Luckily my bloodline activated, and I accidentally killed him. Shocking the girls. Naruto closed his eyes and said my bloodline was an unknown, and the council wanted to know the full extent of my abilities and wanted me to receive special training to document the full extent of my bloodline. The Sandaime was forced to make me a genin and took me as his apprentice, so at least I would have someone I trusted as a sensei and could keep most of my abilities a clan secret. I trained under him and a part-time sensei in these very woods until the age of 7, when I was promoted and teamed up with the person who was my other sensei and 2 other chunins. A year later the Uchiha massacre happened, and people feared that since I was considered a child prodigy like Itachi that I would go insane like he did, so I was taken out of the village by my godfather Jiraiya of the Sannin as his apprentice for the next 2 years. At the age of 10 I saved the Fire Lord's life and he made me a fire temple guard. For 2 years I served him, and when I was returning to Konoha I discovered a Chunin named Mizuki killing another Konoha Chunin. I attacked Mizuki, who had finished the other nin off when Mizuki teammates returned looking at him. I accused Mizuki of killing the man, and he accused me of doing it. I proposed letting the Hokage discover the truth, so we were both arrested and brought back to Konoha. Because the Hokage was my grandfather, Mizuki claimed he would falsify the info to blame him. I asked that your father Ino go into Mizuki's mind, and Mizuki said he wouldn't be treated like a criminal, and I couldn't let him enter my mind since I had secrets of the Fire Lord I am not allowed to talk about. In the end the Fire Lord himself made a compromise. I was placed in ANBU at the age of 12 under the watch of my commanding officer, and Mizuki was also placed in ANBU under watch. 2 months later, Mizuki was killed when he tried to steal the Forbidden Scroll and Defect. Because of the scandal around me, the council wanted me to stay in ANBU for life, which is where they wanted me to be at the age of 5 because of my bloodline. At age 14, I was named ANBU captain and given my own squad. Now we get to today, when I was informed the council hand-picked you 3 to be my team and allowed me to leave ANBU, but they also passed a law saying I have until the age of 18 to have an heir. I was angry with you 3 because you 3 had the chance to be happy, to live normal lives, and you chose to be a ninja, but instead of working hard to be proud ninja, you let yourself become so weak the council saw you as better choices to try and force me with then even civilians. When I wasn't even given a choice, and you not only had a choice and made it, but then disrespected that choice. I saw it as an insult to everything I had to sacrifice in my life just so I could try and find a little happiness in my life. The 3 girls were shocked and felt guilty now that they understood why he was angry, and Naruto saw this and said, "But I think I should let 2 of you know why I am angry at your clans. Ino, I actually respect your father for his skills as a ninja, and I have worked with him on several occasions. What I am angry at is that he chose to use you to better your clan than care for you as a daughter. One of my bloodline abilities is this." As he pulled out a kunai and stabbed his hand with it, shattering the kunai. Naruto said, "My skin is nearly as hard as steel, so I can take a lot of damage with little injury. Your clan bloodline allows you to leave your body and enter others, taking it over, but your body is vulnerable when you do that and could be easily killed. Your father thinks if your clan got that ability from me that it would provide your future members with more protections. That is why he agreed to let you be used like this. He sees you as a tool to be used for the betterment of your clan, not a daughter, and he believes that all you could do to improve your clan is to produce stronger children." Ino closed her eyes and thought, "I understand now," and he would do that. Naruto looked at Hinata and said, "Now you, Hinata, I don't know what to say because I can understand what your father was thinking. He wishes to protect you and your sister from the cage bird seal. By having you become part of a breeding program, he can keep you from getting the seal, since the breeding program falls under the council and the Hokage control, and then he could name your sister the new heiress, protecting her. The thing that pisses me off is if your father would just simply grow a fucking pair of balls and stand up to the Hyuga elders, then not only could he have saved his father's life, saved your mother's life, but also unite your clan and not have to worry about you and your sister getting the seal. The reason your mother died wasn't actually due to childbirth. Your mother died because the Hyuga elders refused to let her see a doctor outside of the clan since they think they're inferior. If they would have, any doctor who ran a simple blood test on her would have found that she had a form of sugar diabetes that only appears in pregnant women and can be cured by a simple medication. That belief that since they are from a clan they are naturally superior cost your mother, your father, his wife, has caused a rift to forming your clan and forced Hayashi to put you in this situation." Naruto looked at Hinata and then Ino and then Sakura and said, "And you, Sakura, I am angry at your mother for lying to you. I've read where before you say your original dream was to be the first ninja of your family. Well, that was a lie. Your mother told you to try and keep you from being a ninja, and the reason she encouraged you to chase after boys and not work hard is because she didn't want you to follow in your father's footsteps." Sakura asked in a shocked voice, What do you mean?" Naruto said, "Sakura, your father is alive and is living in this village." Sakura's eyes went wide as did Ino, and Sakura said, "But my mom told me that he died in the Kyuubi attack." Naruto snorts and said, "I wish the bastard did. He's a royal pain in my ass and has been one of the main bastards on the council who've been trying to get me to be Konoha's secret weapon. Your father at one time was nearly chosen to become the Sandaime Hokage, and he nominated you for this team because he knows you're his daughter and he believes that if you became pregnant he could use his parental rights to you to gain control of the child when it is born. His real name is Danzo Haruno, but only my grandfather, the 2 elders, your mother, and myself knows his real last name." The elders and the Sandame had all official records of it destroyed when Danzo became the head of the village's original ANBU Black Ops unit, and later he created a second ANBU unit that dealt with all the true Black Ops the village can't or won't claim or do. Isn't that right, Danzo? As he looked to the left, Danzo looked at Naruto and said, "You are too emotional to be an effective weapon of the village boy." Naruto said, "Thanks. I take great pleasure in knowing I am a failure in your eyes. So what is it you want?" "I'm not going to do the breeding program you and the two old farts want." Danzo stopped 3 feet from Naruto and said, "That is what I wanted you to believe we are after." "I am after something else," Naruto said, "and that is, and don't try to use that on me, you know it's useless on me." Sakura asked, Are you really my father?" In a stutter, Danzo looked at Sakura with an emotionless eye and then looked back at Naruto and said, "You and I do not get along because we do not agree on the way this village should be ruled. You believe in the ways of peace that your grandfather has poisoned your mind with, while I believe in a strong militaristic government. We both, however, agree that the protection of Konoha is important to us above all else. I arranged for this team with another purpose in mind than breeding, but that would be a bonus, but it can wait until another time, Your Highness." Naruto glared at Danzo and said, "The only thing keeping me from killing you is the respect my grandfather has for you despite your darker actions, but even I have limits. You've been pushing my buttons wearing thin on my reservation about killing you. Now tell me what you want, you one-armed bastard, before I set your personal forest on fire." Danzo said, "I've received word that one of Sarutobi failures has become interested in some of the more unique situations in the village. Even I have to admit that you are the only person in this village to surpass me or Jiraiya in information gathering. You are also one of only a handful of people who could lead a team on these type of missions and return successfully. This team has the best chance at discovering this information and returning with it. The breeding program was more of a cover for you and a stepping stone for another." Naruto thought a moment and said, "A Hyuga to spy from a distance, a mind reader to enter enemy minds, and your daughter. The first two I can understand, but not the third." Danzo said, "We Aruno have a bloodline, although it is a small one. It is a second personality that gives us a photographic memory. Anything we see, hear or read is automatically remembered, and it allows us to be able to keep secrets perfectly, even against a Yamanaka. Suki has weakened her to the point she is all but useless and would die as she is now. However, with proper training she could remember the information this team discovers and reproduce it even if the other two were lost." Naruto snorts and smirks as he said, "So you do have a heart, you sick bastard. You knew by pulling this stunt I would either emotionally destroy them forever, where they would quit, or turn them into the 3 greatest kunoichi of this village since Tsunade. Either way your daughter would be protected by quit being a ninja or learning to protect herself, but you can't bring yourself to admit that you care for her, can you? That would be an emotional response, and ninja can't have emotions, can they? Because all we are in the end is tools to be used and discarded. Isn't that what you preach?" Danzo said, "I have no daughter. I only have followers who serve Konoha." Naruto looked at the sky and said, "I want 5 things. Danzo said, "And those are?" Naruto said, "You know from Hinata's file what her dream is. By the time I say they are ready to begin missions, I want you to have that dream completed for her completely. I'm sure you have some way to take care of that. I want Anko given full jounin status and her to take Ino as her unofficial apprentice. With Ino knowledge of plants and her family bloodline, she could become Konoha next poison expert and interrogation specialist. When Gramps steps down or passes on, Tsunade will become the Godame Hokage. You will not make a bid for power. I'll kill you long before you ever sat in that chair. I want Tsunade to take Sakura as her apprentice. With Sakura photographic memory and her perfect chakra control, she could surpass Tsunade in a few years as a medical ninja. You will also release all parental rights to her, so she will be allowed to make her own choices and decisions. The last thing I want is Sannin status and the right to be with anyone I chose, have children if or when I want, and I want you to make an agreement with that country through your political support. I want you to make a deal where I won't be handed over to them. In return, I will recognize the feudal lord's position in that country at the cost of a 5% tax a year that will be paid to me or my family forever. 1% of that tax will be given to the village to keep the wheels moving as long as I don't have to deal with them. Also, back off of Gramps. I will ask him to step down after the Chunin exams. Danzo seemed to think for several moments and said, how strong will they be? Naruto looked at them and said all three of them or just Sakura. Danzo glared at Naruto and Naruto said individually, at least High Chunin. Together, they will give Jounins a run for their money. Danzo nods and said we are in agreement. Then Sarutobi. Naruto said good, then tell the Yamanaka and Aburame in the woods to get the hell out of here before I kill them both and rip out your eye, you one-armed bastard. Also don't send anyone or anything to spy on us. Danzo said very well, but I demand results. Naruto said here's your results. As he flipped Danzo off. Danzo looked over and said a word of advice, girls, don't follow his example. You will live longer. As he walked away. Naruto shook his head and said dead man walking. As he turned back to the girls. Sakura had tears in her eyes as she looked where Danzo had left, and Naruto sighed and said, girls, look at me, look at me. As he unleashed a little ki. This got their full attention, and he said that was the devil of the Leaf Village, Danzo. One of the three elders of the council and leader of Root, a ANBU unit outside of the Hokage control. I want you each to tell me what you think of that man after you heard what me and him said. Ino, why don't you go first? Ino said I feel dirty because of him. As she held her arms. Naruto snorts and said get used to that feeling. Every time you meet him or even think of him in the future, odds are that is the way you will feel. Is there anything else you want to say? Ino shook her head and Naruto looked at Hinata, who said what was that deal you made with him? Naruto said Danzo is a very dirty man. If there is something going on in the village illegally or that you want to stay hidden, he is the man who would most likely know about it or find out about it. He doesn't care about how a mission is completed as long as it is completed. Hinata asked, what did you agree on about my dream? Naruto said, like I said, if there was something going on he would know about it. As such, I figured if anyone had enough dirt to force your clan to get rid of the cage bird seal, he would. I know he has a way to remove that seal because he has a couple of Hyuga whose seal he removed working for him. He was also the one who was partly responsible for your kidnapping attempt. Making Hinata eyes widen. Naruto said yeah, he was the one who told the Cloud Ambassador where your room was. He had it arranged if your dad hadn't have discovered him escaping with you, then his Root would have captured the Cloud Ambassador and put you into the Root training program while saying that you were taken away by another Cloud Nin. Of course, he could have just turned you back over to your dad and could have requested a favor or two for saving you, while he would force Kumo to give over the Jinchuriki of the Nibius payment for their betrayal after having his memory of getting the blueprints erased. The three girls were shocked and Ino said he actually did that. Naruto said yeah, but the problem with Danzo is you can't prove it, or if you do then he has a way to blackmail you into not doing anything. If nothing else, he is good at covering his tracks. Failure to him is not an option. Anyone who fails him is as good as dead. Sakura asked, why did you make a deal with him if he is so evil? Naruto sighed and said, Sakura, do you want to know how close that man came to being the Sandaime Hokage? 2 seconds. The Nidaime on the battlefield against Kumo when he lost his life. That day the Nidaime and 2 teams comprised of the Sandaime and the 2 elders and Danzo and his 2 teammates were on that mission and were being surrounded by Kumo. They realized one of them had to stay and hold the enemy back if the others were to survive, and so the Nidaime, who had already made the choice in his mind that he was going to stay, waited to see who was willing to sacrifice their life for the others to see who would be the next Hokage. Danzo let his emotions get in front of him for 2 seconds as he made peace with himself, and during that 2 seconds the Sandaime said he would do it. Ever since then, Danzo has believed that emotions are the enemy of every ninja and has become obsessed with completing the mission, no matter the cost, and no emotional attachments. I don't know all the details of how him and your mom got together, as nobody but her and him know the truth, but what I do know is that after the Kyuubi attack and the Yondaime passed away, he become even more emotionally detached. Your mother hated it and hated him for it, and they separate. In the end, Sakura became little more than a chess piece to them. Your mother had it where he couldn't come near you, and he adopted an orphan son from the Kyuubi attack to show that he could raise a child. As he looked up at the sky, Sakura asked, "How do you know so much about it when even I don't know any of this?" Naruto looked at her and said, "I'm good at information gathering. The Sandaime's my grandfather, and he hopes someday I will become Hokage. Also, your stepbrother was an alternative on my ANBU team." Ino asked, "Alternative?" Naruto frowned and said, "I've only actually worked with about 20 ninja out of all the ninja in the village. My ANBU team when I became a captain was also the team I had as a chunin, except now I was the one in charge of them. Anyways, my team isn't always able to be on missions together because of other duties, and so I have an alternative member to fill in if one of them isn't available, and her brother is the one I got." Naruto looked at the girls and said, "I have a question for you three. After everything you three have been through together today, everything that you have seen and heard, do you think you could go back to the lives you once had? Do you honestly think you could look at your mother or fathers and live with them anymore? That you could trust them? Could you trust your mother after learning she's been lying to you your entire life and that your father is such a person? Do you, Ino, believe you could respect yourself and your father after he decided to use you to improve your clan? Do you, Hinata, believe that you could live with your clan without being given the cage bird seal when you return and inform them that you were unable to seduce me?" Naruto saw all three of the girls were in deep thought and getting depressed and said, "That is why I made a deal with him. I know Ino won't be able to stand living with her father after this is over, so I have arranged it for Ino to become the unofficial apprentice of the woman who trained me when my grandfather couldn't, as a genin, was also my chunin team leader and a member of my ANBU squad. She is second in command of the village ANBU directly under Ibiki Marino, meaning she outranks your father, and she is also Konoha poison expert." Naruto said, "Then you, Hinata, once your clan is united, do you honestly believe you could live with Hayashi as a family, knowing that he has purposely destroyed you emotionally over the years to buy time to protect your sister, and his ultimate plan to save you both was to turn you into a baby factory? I plan to teach you enough to make you able to stand toe-to-toe with your father and show him how wrong he is about you, so you could either become the clan head or leave the Hyuga clan and start a new life for yourself and protect yourself." Naruto said, "And you, Sakura, neither of your parents cared about you as a person. Both wishes to see you as a weapon to be used against your other parent. Your mother wanted you to be so weak that you would be considered an insult to your father, and your father wanted you to be used as a baby factory at his orders to show your mother that he could do anything he wanted to you even if he wasn't in your life, as your mother requested the Hokage for him to be. By becoming the Godaime Hokage apprentice, you will show your mother that you are not some weak little girl but a respected kunoichi, and by becoming her apprentice, then you would learn the lessons that my grandfather believes in, the lessons that Danzo himself does not agree with, so you would be slapping your father in the face as well, showing that you're not his little toy to be used against your mother. In the end, all three of you would become respectable kunoichi in the eyes of the village and be able to hold your head up with dignity and respect. Something that your families have taken from you. That is what I will do as your sensei. Of course, the apprentice's part is only an option. Tsunade and Anko will both want to see you for themselves and see if you impress them enough for them to take you as apprentices. All I did was make it where when I ask them to look at you later to be their apprentices is have it where Danzo won't try and block you. The Sandaime is the Hokage, but Danzo runs the council, unofficially that is." In the eyes of the three girls, the respect they held for Naruto went through the roof to near fanatic levels, and all three girls' resolve grew and stood straight up and said, "Hi, sensei." Naruto saw this and said, "Good, now follow me into our new home," as he opened the gates and led the three girls inside. After walking through the woods for 2 hours, Naruto came to a stop in a clearing with a small stream running through it, and Naruto said, "All right, team, this will be our base of operations. We will divide work into 3 parts and we'll have 3 rotations. This rotation will be the basis of what your teamwork will be divided into as long as you are a team. Day 1 is today, and so when I tell you to begin after giving orders on day 1, you will get firewood, enough to last all day and night and enough to make breakfast with tomorrow. Sakura, the same will go for you with water and Hinata. You will be the cook on day 1 and have to catch, clean and cook the meals today. Now day 2 will consist of Sakura cooking, getting water, and Hinata firewood. Day 3 will be cooking, Hinata water, and Sakura firewood. Now these are your duties, and you are to make sure you have enough to go until breakfast the next morning. Now on to the nightly watch. Day 1, meaning tonight, will be Hinata first watch, second watch, and Sakura, since you have to cook in the morning, will be third watch. Day 2 will be Sakura will get first watch since she will be up the longest tomorrow, Hinata second watch, and final watch. Then like Sakura, since will be up the longest, she will get first watch. Sakura second watch and Hinata will get third watch so that she can get up and start getting ready to cook. Each watch will be 3 hours each, meaning you will get a total of 6 hours sleep in a 10-hour night. Do you all understand? Sakura asked, "Excuse me, sensei. But if we each have 3-hour shift, then why is it a 10-hour night instead of 9 hours? Naruto smirked sadistically and said, "That is a very painful lesson that I will be testing you on in the future to see if you 3 can figure it out. Now I won't be here to watch you sleep, so you had better take protecting yourself and your duties seriously or you won't wake up. There are things in this forest that only come out at night to look for food, and you 3 are on the menu." Scaring the girls. Naruto said, "Now, on to your training duties. After you do your duties in camp, you will begin your training. This training will be as follows. You will do 1 push-up, and I don't mean a girly push-up. I mean your knees do not touch the ground. Next you will do 1 sit-up, 1 jumping jack. Throw 1 kunia and 1 shuriken at a target I will set up, and then after retrieving them you will run 1 lap around this clearing, going around the trees, where if you go around the inside of the camp on 1 tree you will go on the outside of the next tree. You will then use chakra to run up a tree like this." As he turned and ran up a tree, shocking and Sakura. When he got back down, he said, "You use chakra to stick to the tree. Too much and you blow off, not enough and you won't stick. You will go and down the tree 1 time to equal 1. I will be setting up 2 punching bags. The small one you will punch 1 time with each fist, and I do mean fist Hinata. You will then kick with each leg into the big back. I will also be putting up a human-looking dummy, and you will take those wooden batons and you will slash it from left to right, right to left, top to bottom, bottom to top, upper left to lower right to upper right to lower left, and lower left to upper right. After you do each of those 1 times, you will come back to this clearing and do 2 of everything all over again, and I don't mean just doing it 1 time, I mean you will do 1 turn of everything, then you will come back and do 1 turn, and then 2 turns of everything. You will do this until you work your way up to 10 of every exercises. While you are doing this, I will be reading from a book out loud on today's subject. You will be required to listen to me read as you do your exercises, because after you finish your 10 turn you will come to me and I will ask you a question. If you get it right, then you will go back and do 9 of everything again. Get it wrong and you will have to do 10 of everything again. You will keep doing this until you get back down to 1, earning your right to the easier exercise today. Once one of you get to 1 and answer the question correctly, then I will quit reading for the day, and the other 2 will not have to answer any more question today, but they will still have to work down from whatever number of exercises they are on. Ino said, "So our exercises is only to do 10 of everything." Sakura, who had narrowed her eyes, said, "No, Ino. If we get every question right, then by the end of the day we will have done 100 of every exercise." Naruto said, "Very good, Sakura. Most people actually think the way Ino did a moment ago until they actually start the training. This training method was taught to me by Godfather. It is designed so you don't overwork 1 set of muscles in your body at a time while also toning your muscles. When most people train to get stronger, they think they need to bulk up on muscles, but that is actually stupid because bulking muscles slow down your speed and restricts your flexibility. To a ninja, that is dangerous, so this exercises will tone your muscles while slowly building up your muscle mass. It will also increase your strength, stamina, speed, endurance, and also by having to listen to me it will help you mentally with learning to multitask and watch your surroundings. It will also help build up your chakra reserves without risk of chakra exhaustion because you will have time between each tree climbing group to recover some of it. On top of this though, I will randomly throw a rubber ball at one of you or all of you. If I throw it at you and it hits you, then you will lose whatever progress in the set you are on and have to start all over on that set. So if you are on the 10-lap set and you had made it to 7 and a ball hits you, then you will have to start all over at 1 on the 10-lap set. I do not want you to dodge the ball, however. I want you to use the replacement jutsu. By learning to detect and dodge the ball, you will learn to avoid thrown objects like kunai and shurikens. Now I won't throw the balls very hard at first, but the more into your training you get, the faster I will do it. Naruto saw the girls listening to him and he said, now on to the question I will ask. Since today is Monday, on Sunday when you wake up we will head to the tower in the middle of this forest for some more training, and you will also have a big breakfast I will make for you, and you will answer a written test each over the things I have read to you, and what you have read yourself. Each day I will leave the book I was reading here so that after your training you each may go over the book and memorize the information. You will protect the books and memorize all 6 books that I leave here before Sunday. Now after your breakfast and written test you will have some dodging and kenjutsu training to help you learn to use your swords better as well as actual teamwork. At dinner you will again eat a dinner I prepare for you, but whoever gets the most questions right throughout the week as well on their written test will decide what dessert you will have at dinner. If Hinata wins, Cinnabons will be all of your dessert. For Ino, chocolate cake, and for Sakura, cherry cheesecake. You will also get after dinner to have a hot bath and your own bed to sleep in, but you will have to share a room in the tower. We will get up at your normal training time, which is about 5 a.m., and come back here and start your training all over again. At this all 3 girls' eyes widened and Naruto said, now one other thing. You will be doing weight training. The number 10 is not only the number of each exercise you have to carry, but the number of weights you will carry on each arm and leg. On Monday every week we will add 10 pounds of weight on each limb until we get to 100 pounds on each limb. 10 pounds is the weight of a bag of potatoes and only 1/3 the weight of a bag of potting soil, so I know that each of you will be able to handle that much weight. On Monday also we will up the number of times you have to do exercises by 5 until you reach 20 of each. That will be a total of 400 of each exercise. Once you reach that amount, that will be your normal training warm-ups. You need to learn to be able to start before 6 a.m. and finish by 9 a.m. Right now that is far beyond you, but I believe that you can reach it in quick time through this training. Now I have one other thing to show you before you begin your duties. As he walked out and walked on top of the water, shocking the girls, Naruto said, this is the water walking chakra control exercise. I am not requiring you to do it yet, but by the time we reach 50 pounds of weight, I expect all 3 of you to be able to fight on this water, because we will begin actual combat training after you reach 50 pounds of weight, since you should be as strong as any normal academy student who graduates. At that point I will concede you are at least kunoichi hopefuls. All genin teams have to pass a test given to them by their jounin instructors to see if they have the required skills to actually be ninja of our village. If you took that test right now, then you would lose. I am going to tell you what the test I would give you is, and that is I want you 3 to fight me on this water with all your skills you have at that point, and you must force me onto dry land. Now the water walking exercise is just like the tree climbing, except if you don't put enough chakra into it, then you sink instead of falling off. Too much and you will blow off the water. You will learn this skill on your own time, but do not drain yourself too much because you have your duties to yourself and your teams, and right now out of you 3 the only one who could do this exercise without dying of chakra exhaustion in 5 minutes is Hinata, because her clan used chakra so much with their bloodlines. We are about to start with you girls doing your camp duties before training, so I will give you one last piece of advice. Use your brains and think about the dangers the world around you present to you and your team now. No Prince Charming is going to come save you all the time, if ever. If you do something that I consider a danger to yourself or your team, or if you don't do something you should know to do to protect yourself or your team, I will punish the entire team with a lap around this entire forest as punishment for each thing you do wrong. 1 lap for a gentleman takes an hour. For you 3, I would say half a day and you would still have your exercises to do. Now let's get those weights on you so you can begin setting up camp and begin training. Daylight's wasting. As he unsealed some steel bars and slipped them into the suits the girls were wearing. After that, Naruto began to read as the girls each started to get the water, wood, and fish out of the river. When the camp was set up, Naruto saw the girls begin to do the exercises and thought the camp is sloppy as hell, inefficient, and they forgot to set any traps as well. It's going to be a long 3 months. That night the girls slumped to the ground as Naruto clapped and said, "Well done, girls. Your first day of training is complete, and good job, Sakura, on finishing first 6 questions ahead of the others." Sakura glared at him and said, "Are you insane?" Naruto smirked and said, "Nope, you're lucky I haven't started poison resistance yet." "Well, it's good you already cooked those fish for everyone earlier, Hinata, and put them in tin foil to protect them, but from now on that won't work. You will only be cooking twice a day from now on. Rice for breakfast in the morning that I will provide when I come to camp tomorrow that you will have to guard and protect, and whatever you catch at dinner time. You can't cook fish that far ahead until you learn sealing to seal the fish in for later. If you did, then you would attract all the wild animals here to the smell, which would eat you all. I will let you all off on that this time since it was our first day and it was so screwed up anyways. Well, I will see you 3 tomorrow and have a good night." As he turned and started to walk away, Ino said, "Wait, you're leaving us here alone?" Naruto said, "Yes, I won't hold your hands and I won't explain everything to you. You need to think for yourself to survive. I won't repeat myself either, so you had better remember what all I told you. See ya." As he left in a swirl of leaves. In the air above them, Naruto appeared, and he quickly cast a genjutsu over himself and thought as he looked down, "Now, if my guess is right, then they will have Hinata check on the area with her bloodline once and grumble about me leaving. Sucks to always be right. Now it's time to see what they really do and see how bad they screw up tonight." As he sat down under a genjutsu to watch them. That evening in town, Anko was sitting at the dango stand eating dango when Kurenai walked over, slamming a bottle of sake and a plate of dango in front of Anko, and took a sip of sake before she poured some into Anko's glass, and Anko raised an eyebrow and said, "What's got your panties in a bind?" Kurenai glared at her and said, "I want you to tell me everything about Naruto Sarutobi." Anko smirked and said, "Superman, why? Got a crush on him?" Kurenai glared and told her about meeting him at the Hokage office and then what happened at the academy, and said, "And now that bastard's got those 3 girls and God knows we're doing God knows what to them." Anko, for her part, had only took 1 sip of sake during Kurenai's entire rant and sighed and said, "Nia, you're an idiot. You know that." Kurenai blinked and asked, "What?" in a shocked voice. Anko sighed and said, "All right. Here's what you need to know about him. Because of who he really is, the Sandaime kept him at his family compound until the day Asuma was killed. He never got to hang out with kids his own age. The only woman there was Isis, the wife to Asuma's brother, and she died 3 months before Asuma did when she gave birth, so the only memories of woman he had to that point was of a pregnant woman. Now, after having his world turned upside down, killing that man and seeing his father die, learning he was adopted, and then learning that he had to become a ninja, he closed himself off. The Sandaime could only see him 1 or 2 hours a week if he was lucky. Even though the Sandaime was his sensei officially, the Sandaime placed him under my control to not only show the village that he had faith and trust in me, but also because I was the only one who wasn't afraid of him back then. Rumors spread that he shot lasers out his eyes and killed people for the fun of it. It took me several months to get his trust, and during that time the only other woman he had around him was clients on missions. Kurenai said, what does this have to do with anything? Anko shot Kurenai a glare and said, give me a few minutes, Nia. This is important. Anyways, for 2 years that's how it played out. The Sandame at that time had no choice but to put him in the Chunin exams in grass country along with Hate and Yugugo. Yugugo, who was at the bar, came over and said, you say something, Anko. Anko said, take a seat. Nia here is needing info on Superman, so I was giving her the backstory on the kid. Yugugo said, poor guy. I feel sorry for him sometimes. As she sat down, Anko said, anyways, after all 3 of them took the exams and were promoted, all 4 of us were put on a team together with me in charge with the most experience. Yugugo sighed and said, until Itachi went crazy, that is, what she need to know about Captain 4. Anko explained it and Yugugo snorts and said, that's him alright. I wish he would have been my original sensei back at their age. Kurenai was shocked and said, you actually want someone like him for your sensei? Yugugo looked at Kurenai and said, get off your damn high horse and think about it a minute and stop letting your personal feelings for Hinata get in the way. Think about it from a kunoichi point of view. With what you know about our life now and the way those girls are coming out of the academy, would you rather have a sensei who would pamper them and cuddle them until one of them die or worse and they are forced to grow up, or would you rather have someone who sees women in one of 4 categories and have those girls learn to respect themselves and others based on those views? Kurenai frowned and said, I don't understand. Anko shook her head and said, all right, sit down, shut up, and we will explain it to you, Nia. Now, as I was saying, at this point the kid has only seen woman in 3 categories, kunoichi, mothers, and clients. When Itachi went happy, the kid was forced to become the apprentice to Jiraiya because the council wanted to lock him away, afraid he would go crazy as Itachi did because of his age. Jiraiya decided to train him to be a spy master and also to teach him other things. While Jiraiya would peek on women at the bathhouses or go to brothels to meet his contacts, he would drag the kid with him and leave him in the lobbies where he would watch for hours or days as the woman used every trick they could to get a John. He knows more seduction skills than all 3 of us put together. He also grew a huge disgust for women like them and perverts in general. In fact, one day he did snap and nearly killed Jiraiya when Jiraiya paid a girl to give him a lap dance. He broke both Jiraiya's arms, 7 ribs, 1 of his legs, 4 toes, and burned the word Erosanin on Jiraiya's chest. The only thing that saved Jiraiya was Tsunade, who happened to have been in the town they were in that day. Tsunade healed Jiraiya and then nearly killed the pervert after she learned what kind of mental torture he had been putting the kid through. For the next 6 months Naruto traveled with Tsunade and Shizen, leaving the pervert. Tsunade became a grandmother to Naruto and Shizen a big sister, but both were kunoichi. Tsunade, to try and heal some of the damage done to Naruto about woman, put us in 4 categories: kunoichi, mothers, clients, and lastly whores. Kurenai frowned and said, but why would she put us in those categories? Yugugo said, think about it, Kurenai. What other categories would he as a ninja ever actually run into? Most of the women he meet in everyday life will be either mothers or clients. He's been through so much he doesn't know or think of himself at the age he is. He sees himself as someone between yours and our age. He doesn't understand crushes. He doesn't understand fangirls. To him, those are just seduction skills, and anyone who uses them that doesn't fall into the other 3 categories is automatically labeled as whores. Anko said it was with Tsunade that he met the Fire Lord and saved his life and became a fire temple guard. Most of the time he was at the actual temple training with monks, so there were no women there, and when he came back a traitor named Mizuki created some shit blackballing the kid, so he was put with Kakashi unit that was composed of all men, and when he wasn't on missions he was with Konohamaru, his cousin, and he sees him as his little brother, so they spend all their time alone at the compound. After he got his own team he was placed with me and Yugugo here again, and, as she stopped and frowned a moment, Yugugo grimaced and Kurenai said, what? Yugugo said, our first mission as a team, some shit went south on that mission and he had to do an assassination to save an entire country, but... Kurenai asked, but what? Anko said the guy was an infiltration expert and had the people's support following him. The kid met a woman while we were investigating for the mission and started to fall for her. The kid, after he killed the guy, broke code and tried to comfort the woman, and the woman had been fooled by the guy also and attacked the kid. She broke his mask and saw who he really was and called him everything she could as she tried to hurt him. In the end, the only thing she actually hurt were her own fist and what was left of the kid's own humanity. Because of the way people treat him, because of his powers, and because of her words, he doesn't see himself as even human anymore. He sees himself as a tool to be used and discarded. He won't touch those girls, as she looked down sadly. Yugugo said he won't touch any woman. The last time I tried to give him a hug, he stood at full attention and looked straight forward, ignoring me until I finally stepped back away from him. If the council and the Hokage wants him to build a clan, they will just have to order him to a bed and send a woman in to do all the work because he won't care. Anko snorts and said the sad thing is his bloodline is not really that great. Yes, his skin is harder than steel somewhat and can deflect a thrown kunai or break a pushed kunai, but it still cuts his skin slightly because of the edge and only because the kunai are formed from weak metals that they actually break. A sword will still cut him, not as deep as normal, but if you add chakra or wind chakra to it, and it cuts him just like anyone else. His skin also, because it tougher, gets stronger and doesn't break down as easily as a normal person, so he can build muscle mass quickly, but this also slows his body speed and flexibility down greatly. His X-ray vision causes tunnel vision, so the more he focuses on one thing, the more blind he gets to other things. His heat vision only works on very slow and predictable targets or targets that's not moving at all because he can't see at all when he uses it. The old saying, blinded with rage, was talking about him in that regard, since that is the emotion he has to have to use the heat vision. His flying ability isn't that great either, because if someone is quick enough to move to the left and right, he can't use it in combat and has to take long winding turns to change directions unless he wants to completely stop. All these abilities are also huge chakra eaters also. As she took a sip of sake, Kurenai frowned and said, then why does he act so tough and like a badass about his abilities? Yugugo and Anko shared a look, and Yugugo said, simple, he's scared of you. Kurenai blinked and asked, what? Why the hell is he scared of me? Anko said, Kurenai, you're like the ultimate question for him. You're not a client, you're not a mother, you're a kunoichi who is known to use seduction as one of her greatest abilities. He doesn't know how to class you. You're the Ice Queen of Konoha, the ultimate temptation, but also one of the most devoted to being a true kunoichi. When you insulted him about the council pulling the crap on him, he took it as an insult from both classes you represent in his book. He will either turn those three into the greatest kunoichi in the village or destroy them completely. Either way, it will be amusing to see if there is any hope for those girls. Kurenai frowned and Yugugo said, if it makes you feel better, then I can promise you that he won't touch them sexually. He only respects 4 women, and that is me, Anko, Shizune, and Tsunade, and all of us despise men who only see women as sex objects, and we sort of passed that on to him. Kurenai said, now I feel like shit again, but now it's my fault. Those girls are probably going through hell because I had to insult him. Anko said, well, if it makes you feel any better, I'll stop by the playground and check on them from time to time. Kurenai said, really? Thanks, Anko, I owe you. Anko said, you just have to pay for my dango and sake when you want the reports on them. Causing Kurenai to pale as Anko laughed. The next morning, Sakura was asleep sitting up when she, along with Hinata and Ino, were all 3 hit by a water balloon, making them scream out as they looked around wide-eyed. Naruto stood there with an angry glare on his face, and before any of them had a chance to say anything, Naruto unleashed a massive amount of Ki and said, shut up now. I am pissed at all 3 of you, even worse than I was yesterday. Do you know why? Of course you don't. You're scared the fuck out of your minds right now. The reason I am pissed is because all 3 of you failed to protect yourself and your teammates over and over and over again last night. Ino stuttered out, what do you mean, sensei? Naruto said, first you 3 set up traps that don't even work right and would most likely kill you instead by the way you set them up. Each of you set up 2 traps each on the ground, but none of you thought to put traps in the trees in case someone used them to get by your traps. Next is the fact when Hinata woke you up, you got up and never checked the traps, asked Hinata if she saw anything, checked on Sakura, or even looked at the camp. You just walked over and sat in front of the fire and tried to fight off sleep and dozed off a few times until your kidneys told you to go to the bathroom, after which you went and woke Sakura up and went back to bed yourself. Sakura made the same mistakes you did by not checking on Hinata or checking the traps. Like you, she also fell asleep. Now you remember when you went to the bathroom, you remember how a bush moved behind you and you asked who's there. That was the stupidest thing you can do. Do you honestly think someone is going to say, "Hi, I'm the enemy hiding here waiting to have my way with you before I cut your throat"? You just went back to business, never checking the surrounding area or checking to see what the noise was. Go over to that bush now, and take the other 2 with you. I want them to see what shook that bush. Slowly walked over to the bush with Hinata and Sakura, and when they looked around the bushes, all 3 girls shrieked as a 10-foot-tall centipede was laying there with its head cut off. Naruto walked over and said, "Say hello to a demon, girls. That is one of the many minor demons that live in this forest. It has stingers on its many hands with a paralyzing poison on them that makes you unable to move while it dissolves your body from the inside out and then drinks out your insides after it bites off your head. It was ready to grab you from behind last night, when I killed it. It crawled in the trees over your traps and got that close to you and would have killed you and then both the other girls last night. All 3 of you fucked up. It is now 7 a.m. 2 hours after you should have started for the day. I'm too pissed off to count how many laps you girls should have to run right now, so here is what we are going to do. Hurry up and do your duties around camp. I want to leave here at 8 a.m. We are going for a run. We won't stop until noon. I will be back at 8. Go." As he left in a swirl of leaves. All 3 girls were shaking out of fear and wide-eyed, and looked at the bug and said, "I." Hinata held up her hand and said, "Don't. We need to be more careful. That could have been me or Sakura that happened to. None of us ever thought about things like that." Sakura said, This place is going to kill us." A female laugh was heard, and all 3 girls looked up and saw a woman in a leather trench coat sitting on a tree branch eating a dango, and the woman said that's why they call this place the Forest of Death, and why there are signs all around telling people to stay out of here. The walls have seals on them preventing anyone from using chakra to go over them, so the only way in or out is through a gate, and you have to have permission to be here. I take it you 3 are Superman's bitches. Ino said, "Who are you?" The woman took a bite of dango and said, "The name's Anko. Now if I was you 3, I would listen to Superman because he knows his shit." "Well, I've seen what I came here for, CYA." As she shoo-shined away. When Naruto returned, they ran until noon, as he said, and the girls were exhausted and dragged through the routine of the day. That night the girls completely crashed, failing to even set up traps, and so the next day another day or running in the morning was set up as punishment for them. By the 4th day in the forest, the girls were getting better and only had a 3-hour run, and they got the exercise done quicker each day as they got more used to them and the weights. When Sunday finally arrived, the girls who had awoke at the correct time and was greeted with the smiling face of Naruto, who led them to the tower. When the girls got there after an hour walk and they walked into a cafeteria, their eyes got wide and their mouths watered as they smelled and saw the food. There were 4 plates with 3 eggs, 3 pieces of bacon, 2 pieces sausage, 2 pieces of toast, and each had a glass of milk and a glass of orange juice. Naruto said, "This, girls, is our Sunday breakfast. I want you to eat everything on your plate because these are high in carbs and calories along with vitamins that will be stored in your body to help restore some of the fat cells that you've lost from years of dieting that will be helpful as a kunoichi. Please eat." The girls needed no other words as they dug into the food. 30 minutes later the girls were finished and Naruto smiled, taking their dishes, and he pulled out several pages of papers and handed one to each girl and said, "Each of you go to one of the 3 red chairs and begin your test. There is no talking while I do the dishes waiting on you." Each of the girls did and found a pen on the desk when they got there. After 3 hours the girls had finished, and after a bathroom break was now in a large auditorium where a pair of hands made out of stone appeared, and Naruto walked to the front of the girls and said, "Welcome to your Sunday practice. In this room I will release 50 of these." As he held up a red ball, Naruto said, "These balls have seals on them that will cause them to start bouncing and moving at the speed of a graduated academy student throwing a kunai. Until I grade your test, you will only be allowed to dodge these balls. Do not try and block, and do not use replacement. This is as close as I can get to a live exercise without putting you in extreme danger for now. Also, you are not allowed to stop. I have rigged a motion sensor in this room, and if it reads that you stop moving for more than a minute at a time, it will increase the balls in the room, which will target you all. It will keep adding more and more if it reads you have stopped for more than a minute. Now after I return, I will drop your botons to you that I took back at camp along with a bag. The batons will have a seal on them that is designed to work with the balls that are in the room. Each ball will have to be hit by all 3 of you in less than a minute before the ball will stop. This will force you to work as a team to do so. Once the ball stops, you must retrieve it and put it in the bag before another ball can hit it. If another ball hits it, the ball will become active again and cause you to start over on that ball, and you don't get to rest until all 50 balls have been captured. Next week we will all 50 more balls to it, meaning 100 academy students are throwing weapons at you. The week after that you will have 100 academy students and 50 genin level, then 100 genin level, then 50 chunin, 100 chunin, 50 ANBU, 100 ANBU, 50 jounin, and finally 100 jounin, so you will have at the end of 10 weeks, 500 enemy weapons bouncing around you that you will learn to dodge and then fight. I guess that is everything. I don't know how long it will take me to grade your test, several hours at least, so you need to conserve energy and work together. Good luck." As he jumped into the air and kicked a box, and 50 balls began to fall, and once they hit the ground the girls saw the balls pick up speed and bounce wildly, and each girl thought, "Oh shit." Time skip, 3 months later. Naruto smiled as he looked at the 3 girls standing in front of him, and he thought, "Well, I have to say I am very impressed with each of them." Naruto looked at Ino, who was now 5 feet 9 inches, a good 6 inches taller than she was before the training. She was now dressed in a pair of black pants that were bound around her ankles to protect them, and had a small bracelet holding them tightly against her legs, a kunai holster on her left and a shuriken holster on her right. She had a dark blue shirt with fishnet underneath it, which poked out barely above the top 3 buttons of her shirt that was left unbuttoned. The shirt was long-sleeved with a small bracelet on each arm holding the shirt tightly against her arm. She had a tattoo on her left palm of a lily, and on her right palm a cherry blossom, and a heart on top of her right hand was a daisy. On Ino's back was a sword with a daisy painted on the handle. Naruto looked at the tattoos and thought, "Ino, in those seals on your hand you have a shuriken with a seal that releases right-ton chakra into a target by absorbing chakra from the target on impact, and kunais with paralyzing poison released on impact as well. Both are perfect for you since you will need them to be stopped, so you could use your bloodline on them." Naruto looked at Hinata, who was in the middle and dressed exactly like Ino, except she has a white shirt on and her sword has a lily on it, and on her palms were a daisy and a cherry blossom, and thought, "Hinata, you have kunais with a seal that creates a water prison using a person's own chakra to make the jutsu work, and also shurikens that seal a person inside it on impact so that you can capture them, which is what type of missions you will mostly have with your bloodline." Naruto looked at Sakura, who was dressed the same as the other 2 girls, but with a pink shirt, and her sword had a cherry blossom on it. He thought, "And you, Sakura, you have shurikens that explode on contact and kunais that draw a person's chakra to them and turns the chakra into katan jutsu, burning them from the inside out." Naruto said, "Ladies, I am very honored and proud to have been your sensei, and I recognize you as Kunoichi. You each have reached and exceeded my expectations. Your knowledge of seals allows you to create storage seals, blood seals, and exploding tags with no trouble, and you have used that knowledge plus the explanation of the wind chakra seals that I added to your trench knives to make an elemental attack with your kunais to either paralyze, capture, or kill your targets. Naruto began to walk to the left and said each of you know the Kage Kunai no Jutsu, Shuriken no Jutsu, and the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. You also each know a Bunshin Jutsu for each of your respective elements of earth, water, and lightning, as well as 2 defensive and 2 offensive jutsu for each. Naruto turned back to the right and said as he walked, you also know 5 genjutsu that allow you to distort an enemy's depth perception, conceal yourself, conceal your teammates, distract the enemy with phantom weapons, and a sleeping jutsu that will knock someone out. Naruto stopped and smirked as he said you each have also learned to remove poisons, heal cuts, and set broken bones and ease pain with jutsu and pressure points with and without chakra. Naruto put his hands behind his back and said you also can now move normally with 100 pounds on each limb, meaning a total of 400 pounds, which you can drop by using the seal on top of your hand. Kenjutsu, genjutsu, ninjutsu, taijutsu, medical jutsu, chakra control, chakra reserves, sealing, speed, endurance, stamina, strategy, and teamwork. I rank all of you at Chunin level or higher depending on your styles. In my opinions, you are the strongest and most well-rounded team in Konoha history. Now let's get the hell out of this forest. As he smiled at the end, all 3 girls said hi sensei, as they quickly left. After they were gone, a figure stepped out of the shadows and thought, impressive Naruto. I knew I made the right choice with you. As Danzo was seen before he shoo-shined away. Team 10, after leaving the forest, only took about 10 minutes to return to the village, and Sakura said, I can't believe we're finally back here. Ino said, I know. I don't know how many more of those Oni I could have killed before going nuts. Hinata said, at least it wasn't more of those strange ninja we encountered. Did you ever find out what village they were from, sensei? Naruto said, I never heard. I'm still sorry about that. I wish I could have been there when you 3 all had to kill them. Sakura said, if it wasn't for your training, sensei, we wouldn't have survived that. We owe you our lives. Ino asked, but why were they in the forest in the first place? Naruto said, I have a few theories. The Chunin exams are going to be here this time in a couple of months, and the Forest of Death is often used as one of the testing areas. They could have been trying to give their village an advantage by mapping out the forest or storing food and weapons there ahead of time. Hinata snorts and said, idiots. Ino said, tell me about it. That forest is impossible to map because it is constantly changing. I wouldn't have believed the trees walk until I saw it with my own eyes. Naruto stopped and turned around and said, that remind me. Do not tell anything about what the forest does or doesn't do. It is one of Konoha's closely guarded secrets. Only those of ANBU level or higher are supposed to know. Sakura said, we won't tell sensei. Naruto said, I know. I'd beat your ass if you did. Ino shivered and said, no thanks, not after the last time. Sakura said, you deserved that one pig. Hinata nods and said, yeah, she did. Ino pouted and said, hey, it wasn't a total loss. As she blushed, Naruto glared at her and said, Ino, never take over my body. I don't care if you are curious about the size of my dick. Ino said in a whinny voice, but sensei, Anko told us you had a super dick. We were just curious. Naruto said, and you notice Anko didn't come back again, right? After I tanned your ass, I tanned hers. All 3 girls stopped and looked at him, and Hinata said, I highly doubt that, sensei. Causing the other 2 girls to laugh. Naruto pouted and turned to continue his way and thought, damn woman, I will never ask Anko for another favor again. As they walked through the village, the girls saw several people looking at them, and Naruto saw this and said, yeah, I kind of forgot to mention the council told everyone about your attack on the Uchiha. Ino asked whatever happened to that jerk. Naruto said, well, his voice box was destroyed and someone made him a metal box that is on a choker around his neck that makes him sound like a computer a little. All three girls looked confused and Sakura asked Computer, "What's that?" Naruto said it's a machine that is quite popular in the East. I've only seen a couple over the years. Don't worry about it. But anyways, he also lost his left nut, so it's going to be harder for him to restart his clan. The girls laughed at that and Naruto shook his head as the Hokage Tower came into view. When they got to the tower and entered the building, they had to wait about 20 minutes with a few people coming and going, and the girls saw several respectful nods in their direction, making them feel good, and Naruto said it's not that they know of your skills or deeds, but the way you are carrying yourself that they are recognizing. You're showing them pride of being kunoichi and ninja of Konoha. If nothing else, Konoha looks after our own. The Hokage secretary said he can see you now. You didn't really, you know. As she looked at Naruto. Naruto snorts and said the only thing I did was mold them into kunoichi. The secretary said good, then I don't have to put you down in this month's gossip newsletter as a pervert. As she went back to her duties. As Team 10 walked inside the Sandame's office, the Sandame sat there looking at them and said, "Hello Team 10. How was your training?" Hinata said, "Brutal Hokage-sama, but we're thankful for it." The Sandame nods and said, "Let's see here. It appears that you girls have done 17 C rank mission and 20 B rank missions," causing the girls to blink and look confused. Naruto smirked and said, "You know all those Oni you kept killing. Well, a little known secret is they are very valuable for medicines, furs, weapons, and other things. While the Forest of Death is very much classified, some of the creatures inside it have been very well documented. So much so that Konoha has unrestricted bounties on some of them, so any ninja who kills them and brings in the items is counted as a mission. Jounins use them as easy pocket change, and since the Oni pop up so much no matter how many, it's a standard mission. The only thing you have to do is get permission from the Sandame to enter the forest, since it is so dangerous, and to keep other countries from trying to get in and take the items for themselves." The Sandame said, "Yes, now these missions have been logged into your mission record, but you are not to talk about them. I will allow you three to go on a hunt once every 6 months once you reach Chunin to get some pocket change as well as a directory of what is a bounty and what is not, but you are not allowed to tell anyone about them. Do you understand?" The girls said, "Yes, Hokage-sama." The Sandame nods and opened his mouth when a Chunin burst in panting, and the Sandame said, "What's going on here?" The Chunin said, "Sir, a message from Team 8. Their mission has gone from a C rank to an A rank, sir, and they are requesting immediate assistance." The Sandame said, "Naruto, how prepared are they?" Naruto said, "We can handle anything under an S, sir, as a team." The Sandame said, "Very well, I am ordering you to head to Wave and assist Team 8 in their mission to protect a bridge builder named Tazuna." At this, Naruto's eyes got wide as he paled, and the Sandame said, "Naruto, did you hear me?" Naruto said, "Yes, sorry about that, Gramps. Let's go, girls." As he quickly left. Once they left, they quickly began to go by rooftop, and before long they were at the gates of the village. Naruto looked at the girls and said, "All right, team, here is the plan. It's 6 hours hard run to Wave from here. We are going diamond formation with me in the front, Ino to the right, Sakura to the left, and Hinata to the rear. Every 200 yards I want you to scout the area quickly, Hinata, and anything seems off, alert the rest of us immediately. Let's go." As he ran down the road until the tree line and then began to jump from tree to tree with the girls close behind, moving in silent. After 2 hours, Hinata said, "I see signs of a fight on the road." Naruto said, "I know, let's go." As he changed course slightly, and soon they reached the road and followed it for another 3 miles before Naruto stopped and Sakura said, "What's wrong, sensei?" Naruto said, "Team 8 is not far from here." As he began to walk into the woods. Soon the smell of firewood was smelt, and Team 10 saw Kiba sitting near an old man, and he turned quickly, getting in a defensive stance, and frowned and said, "Oh great, the sluts are here." Before he was hit across the back of his head as a genjutsu dropped, and Yakumo stood there glaring at Kiba before she smiled and said, "Hello, Naruto-sama. How are you?" Naruto looked at the old man and said, "I'm here. You can come out, Kurenai, Shino." A swarm of bugs came from the trees and formed. Shino and Kurenai appeared across from the old man, and she said, "I see the girls survived your training, huh?" Naruto said hello to Tazuna. Tazuna turned and opened his eyes and blinked a moment before he looked at Naruto and screamed, "You!" as he slammed his sake bottle on the ground and, taking the broken top of the bottle, jumped forward and stabbed it into Naruto's stomach, shocking everyone. Kurenai quickly moved over and slapped Tazuna and said, "What is the meaning of this?" as she glared at Tazuna and glanced at Naruto's stomach where his shirt had been cut slightly and saw that there was only a couple of little droplets of blood. Tazuna pointed toward Naruto and screamed, "Murder! He's the one who caused the pain and suffering of my people. He killed the hero of our country and allowed Gato to take control of our country. How dare you show your face to me?" Naruto said, "How's the family?" Tazuna said, "You stay away from them, you bastard. Haven't you caused our people enough trouble?" Naruto said, "What's the situation, Kurenai?" as he turned to her, ignoring Tazuna. Tazuna screamed, "Don't ignore me, you cold-hearted bastard," as he grabbed a log from the fire and went to stab Naruto with it when Sakura, Ino, and Hinata began to react and Naruto screamed, "Stand down." Each girl froze while Tazuna paused and frowned as he said, "Hiding behind girls now. What did you do? Murder their families?" Ino started to say something when Naruto said, "Be silent, Ino. He has every right to hate me. I am guilty of murder just as he claims. Now what is the situation, Kurenai, that you needed backup?" Kurenai looked around the camp and said, "Perhaps we should talk in private." Naruto said, "No, there is nothing to speak about. I did kill the man they called Hero of Wave, and I fully admit that even now if I had the chance to do it over I would still have killed that man." Tazuna screamed in rage hearing this as he took the log with fire on it in his hand and shoved it into Naruto's chest, and Naruto didn't even flinch while Yakumo screamed, "Stop it!" as she moved forward to attack Tazuna, but Naruto appeared in front of her and grabbed her before she could attack him. Naruto said, "Stand down all of you and act like ninja. Tazuna can do all he wants because nothing he does can hurt me. Now what is the problem? You needed backup for Kurenai," as he crossed his arms over his chest where his clothes were burned. Kurenai frowned and said, "Tazuna is building a bridge from Wave to Fire Country. Apparently the business tycoon Gato of Gato Shipping has blockaded the island and raised the prices on nearly everything, which is strangling the country. Tazuna Bridge would liberate the people of Wave from Gato control, and so Gato hired a set of missing mist ninja to kill Tazuna." Naruto said, "I see. I am already aware of the blockade of Wave since it's been in effect for over a year now." Tazuna said, "Of course you know. You're on Gato payroll to take care of problems. That's why you're here, isn't it? You're here to kill me just like you did Kaiza." Naruto said, "What has the Wave Lord done since Gato took control?" Kiba said, "Now hold on a minute. This guy called you a killer, a murderer, and basically said you're the guy who is responsible for all the pain and suffering the people of Wave are feeling." Naruto said, "And I'm a ninja. I do as I am ordered to by my client to complete my mission just like all of you. Now don't question me again, Genin." Kurenai said, "That's enough, Naruto. Maybe you should return to Konoha." Naruto said, "If I am returning to Konoha, then so is your team, Kurenai. Your team are Genins who only graduated 3 months ago. That means this was originally a C-rank mission. The only way this could have been a C-rank is if Tazuna lied or hidden the facts about the dangers that your team would face, meaning that the mission can be cancelled right now." Tazuna frowned and paled as he heard this and said, "You bastard. How much is Gato paying you?" Naruto said, "I am not now, nor have I ever been under the employment of Gato." Tazuna said, "Liar. You're just trying to cover your ass and protect your paycheck." Kurenai said, "That's enough. Both of you. My team has said they wish to help the people of Wave and complete their mission. I have no choice but to accept your team on this mission, Naruto, even though I think it's going to be more problems than help. I will also be speaking with the Sandaime about this when we return." Naruto said, very well. What are your plans? Tazuna said, don't trust him. He'll kill us all in our sleep. He's a cold-hearted bastard. Kurenai turned and said, this is the last time I say this, Tazuna. Let us do our job or we will quit right now. You either take us all or none of us. Your choice. Tazuna frowned but sat down and grabbed another bottle of sake. Kurenai said, and you and I will be talking about this later, Naruto. Now we have set camp for the night and will begin leaving in the morning. I'll take first watch and you can take second watch. Naruto said, day one. Confusing Team 8 as Ino quickly disappeared to get wood, Sakura ran to get water and Hinata began looking for food. As Ino came back she turned and said, where are your security traps at? Kiba said, why should I tell you anything? The next moment Kiba was flipped over Ino's shoulder where he landed on his back and found Ino's sword at his neck and she said, listen. I let the slut comment slide as I'll agree that the last time you saw me or my teammates we were close to being that, but we are not sluts. We are proud kunoichi and you will treat us with proper respect as Konoha ninja. Now I asked you where the security traps are because even though Naruto-sensei and Kurenai-sensei are taking watch doesn't mean we shouldn't take watches as well, especially when you have already been attacked by enemy ninja. My teammate and I need to know where the traps are in case we come under attack tonight we don't fall into one of your traps and also to make sure you have set up enough traps for the now larger group so either shape up or fuck off mutt. Kurenai raised an eyebrow as Naruto leaned back against a tree and Kurenai said, aren't you going to stop your student Naruto? Naruto said, not really. I think Ino made a very good point. If her and her teammates hadn't have understood the point she just made when those 4 enemy shinobi attacked them last month, then they would have died or worse instead of killing those ninja. Kurenai eyes widened and said, kill, they killed already. Naruto said all 3 of them have had their first kill. I think your student is waiting for you to save him since his pride won't let him admit that he was not only wrong but defeated by a woman he thought of as inferior to him. Kurenai turned back to where Kiba was and she frowned as she saw Kiba glaring at Naruto and she said, Ino, stand down. Kiba, show her the traps you 3 have set up. Kiba frowned as Ino removed the sword and he got up and when Ino turned to look at Sakura who came back into camp Kiba went to punch Ino in the back but Ino did a split and Kiba punch flew over her head and Ino drove her elbow into his stomach, causing him to gasp for air and hold his stomach as she back-flipped out of the split to her feet. Kurenai said that's enough. Both of you, Kiba, you are to tell Ino you're sorry for attacking her now. Kiba growled and said no, that bitch first attacked me and I was just showing her proper place. Kurenai frowned and Naruto said Team 10, scout the area, 1 mile range. Return in 20 minutes. All 3 girls said hi. As Hinata set some berries as well as a rabbit near the water and wood they had gathered and quickly left. Once the 3 girls were gone Naruto said he's your student and whatever you think is best is your decision but my students will not let themselves be walked over and treated as they were in the past. They have changed and have fought, sweat, and bleed to prove they are honorable kunoichi and not sluts, bitches, or whores. I'm going to scout the area and will return in an hour. As he shoe-shined away. Once he was gone Kurenai bit her lip and turned to Kiba and said, Kiba, you have embarrassed me as not only your sensei but also a woman today. When we return to Konoha I will be having words with your clan head about showing proper respect to fellow Konoha ninja, no matter if they are shinobi or kunoichi as well as women in general. Shino, you will be taking watch along with Hinata. Yakumo, you will take watch with Sakura and Kiba. You will take watch with Ino and you will show her and the others proper respect or I'll report you to the Hokage for insubordination. As for you Tazuna, I want to know the story behind what happened with you and Naruto in the past. I want to know everything. Tazuna frowned and said a little over a year ago a man named Kaiza came to our village. He was a foreigner who was looking for a place to start a new life. He did a couple of odd and end jobs around the village to earn a couple of dollars until one day, my grandson Inari was playing with his puppy he had. These strange kids came by and started picking on Inari, and when the puppy started barking at them, one of the boys grabbed the puppy and threw him in the river. Inari jumped in to save him, but the river was too strong for him, and Kaiza appeared and saved Inari, though his puppy drowned. Kaiza brought Inari home when he was upset and explained what happened, and Tsunami, my daughter, insisted that she be allowed to fix him dinner for saving her son. Kaiza agreed, and it was late, and when we found out he didn't have a place to stay, we let him stay in our guest room. The next day he left, but 2 days later a storm came through and one of the flood canal's doors jammed, and the water would have destroyed the village if it couldn't be fixed, and Kaiza jumped in and saved the village by closing the flood doors. He became the hero of Wave. He moved in with us, and about a week later, he showed up. As he took a sip of sake, Tazuna said, as I said, a week later that murder showed up in Wave. He was dressed in normal-looking cloths and was looking around the village. Claimed he was just passing through, trying to find his godfather. Bastard probably killed him. Anyway, Tsunami was getting groceries and her grocery bag broke and all the items she got fell to the ground, and he came by and helped pick them up. Played the whole innocent act and offered to help to bring the grocery back for her. Tsunami agreed, and he came by and met Inari and began to play with him, claiming he had a brother about Inari's age he doesn't see often. Inari asked if he wanted to stay the night, and he agreed since he said he was waiting for his godfather to come get him and he hadn't arrived yet. He helped around the house, helping clean, helped cook, got firewood, even caught some fish. Him and Tsunami seemed to become real good friends. They shared a lot of interest like reading books and gardening, and even talked about what it was like raising a kid. He claimed he had to help raise his brother after his father was killed. At the time I thought he acted like a kid with a crush on her. Kurenai remember Anko and Yugugo words and thought it couldn't have been the mission Anko was talking about, could it? And Kurenai said, go on please. Tazuna said Kaiza had said he got a job and would be back in a few days, and he returned finding him there. Kaiza proposed to Tsunami that night, and Tsunami accepted. Now that I think about it, I bet the bastard was jealous. That was why he killed him. Kurenai frowned and said, slow down and tell me what happened after Kaiza proposed until the time he died. Tazuna said, why? Kurenai said, you want justice, don't you? I need to know what happened so I can give a proper report when the mission is over. Especially with the way you attacked him. Tazuna sighed and said he told Kaiza and Tsunami congratulations and that he hoped they have a happy life together. In fact, he seemed happy for them, but... Kurenai asked, but what? Tazuna shook his head and said, I don't know. It's just, something changed in his eyes that night. I can't explain it, but he went from congratulating them to being really quiet. I remember Inari asking was something wrong, and he said no, but asked where Kaiza got such a lovely ring. He said it was great work and wanted to get a ring made for a friend of his. He looked upset after Kaiza told him it was a family heirloom, but when Kaiza asked what was wrong, he said he was really looking forward to getting a ring like that for his friend before he went to play with Inari. Tazuna emptied his bottle and said after that he disappeared and would come back and then disappear again. He claimed he was searching for his godfather, but then Kaiza came back one day upset. He claimed that he seen some men attacking one of the warehouse and claimed they were working for Gato. He wanted us to get all the villagers and go and fight those men at the warehouse and to show Gato we weren't going to stand there for it. We did and were on our way with most of the people from the village with Kaiza leading us, and all of a sudden he appeared dressed in a black cloak and wearing a mask that had, I guess, a monkey on it. We didn't know who he was, but he told us to stop this instant or he would be forced to stop us. Kaiza claimed he was one of the men he seen attacking the warehouse, and he charged forward using his sword and tried to attack him, but he was too strong. He blocked all Kaiza attack and broke Kaiza's sword in half before he stabbed the tip of it back into Kaiza's heart, killing him. He then turned to Tsunami, who was screaming, and he said he was sorry. Tsunami, she ran at him and started to attack him with her fist. He just stood there as she screamed and punched him, and then one of her fists hit his mask and it shattered, showing his face. We We were all shocked and then he just disappeared like he did earlier. Kiba said, what a bastard. He killed him for standing up for the people of Wave. You're going to report him, right, Sensei? Kurenai said, I'll inform the Hokage in my report. And thought, if this is the mission Anko was talking about, she claimed the guy was a ninja. I need to find out the truth. When Sakura, Ino, and Hinata got back, Kurenai said, Team 10. I decided that Shino is going to take watch with Hinata, Yakuma with Sakura, and Kiba will take watch with you, Ino, so you both can learn to work together. When Naruto gets back, I'll find out which shifts and how long he wants you to take. Sakura said, Hinata first, Ino second, and I'm third watch, and each watch is 3 hours each in a 10-hour night. Kiba said, but that's only 9 hours. Who gets the other watch? All 3 girls of Team 10 looked at Kiba like he was stupid, and Kiba said, what? Why are you 3 looking at me like that? Hinata turned to Kurenai and asked, Kurenai-sensei, have you had nighttime survival training? Kurenai frowned and said, no, this is our first mission outside of the village and it hadn't came up in our regular training yet. Ino said, the 1 hour gives us time to get a report from the previous shift and to inspect the traps to make sure they haven't been slowly tampered with to take us out when we least expect it. Kurenai said, I guess you 3 really have come a long way, huh? Ino said, yes, our training was hell, but it was war. Which way? As she looked around, Hinata activated her eyes and said, there's one, heading away at 2 o'clock. It appears the person shoeshined from the spruce tree at 6 o'clock. Sensei appeared in front of the person. It appears to be a hunter nin, but not a Konoha one. The hunter nin just attacked Sensei with senbons and Sensei knocked out the hunter nin. He's on his way back. Tazuna and Team 8 were shocked by what they just heard as Naruto appeared in camp with a figure on his shoulder before he dropped the figure and began to check for weapons. Kurenai said, what's going on, Naruto? Naruto said, she's a fake. She claimed she was looking for the demon brothers who was reported in this area. When I questioned about the fact she didn't have a weapon to cut off the heads of her victims and the rumor the demon brothers had been reported being members of the group that Zabuza Momochi was rumored to be working with along with a fake mist hunter nin, she attacked me with senbons like Hinata I suspect told you. Good job on detecting her, Ino. What gave her away? Ino said she has the scent of a moon rose on her, which is a common ingredient used in poisons, but not one that grows in the land of fire. Naruto said, good job. Kurenai, I'm going to take this girl back to Konoha to be turned over to Anko to get information about Zabuza. Team 10, you are to continue procedure and follow Kurenai lead. Do you understand? All 3 girls said, hi, Sensei. Kurenai said, wait. Why don't you interrogate her or let me do it? Why are you leaving? Naruto said, I can make it to Konoha and back before morning, and you are already set up for camp and my team is more than skilled enough to aid you until I return. You're in charge until I return. As he grabbed the weapons he had just removed from the hunter nin before grabbing the hunter and Shushin away. Kiba said, I bet he's going to tell his grandfather to start covering his tracks for his crime. Ino released a little ki and said, never insult our sensei. Kiba flinched and Ino said, Sensei, can you please have someone show us your team traps so we can set up our camp? Kurenai said, right, Shino, would you mind? Shino said, very well, follow me. Kiba saw the girls leave with Shino and he turned back to the rabbit and said, look here, boy, free meat. As he reached for the rabbit, as he was about to get it, a kunai hit the rabbit and the rabbit disappeared in a puff of smoke and Kiba screamed, what the hell? Hinata's voice said, leave our food alone, mutt. As she walked over and grabbed the kunai and unsealed the rabbit from it before she began to clean it. Kiba grumbled before he sat down and Kurenai thought, I can't believe these 3 are the same girls back that day. When Naruto arrived at Konoha he quickly went to ANBU's TNI department. When he got there he went and found Ibiki still with the hunter nin over his shoulder. Ibiki looked up from his desk when Naruto walked in and he raised an eyebrow and said, why do I got the feeling you brought me a gift? Naruto said, sorry, not this time. I need a favor though. As he put the hunter nin in a chair. Ibiki frowned and said, "What kind of favor, and why do you have a Kiri hunter name?" Naruto said, "Ever hear of a mist hunter name with an ice bloodline?" Ibiki blinked and said, "No, that's impossible with the civil war going on there." Naruto said, "Exactly. This is the imposter that was running around with Zabuza Momochi. I need you to keep her on lockdown until I return. Hands off besides food and water, but put her in the sealed chakra room. I don't know how much Zabuza cares for her, but since my spies informed me that she's saved his ass more times than Jiraiya gets rejected by Tsunade, he might be willing to join my network in exchange for her." Ibiki crossed his arms and said, "Still trying to find out about this group who are after the bijou?" Naruto said, "Yeah, rumor has it they originally formed in Kiri, so getting someone who was high up in ranking like a member of the Seven might be able to give me the lead I need to find this group." Ibiki said, "Not to mention Kyuubi and that strange meteorite that hit him that you absorbed part of." Naruto nods and said, "Yeah. If these abilities I have is from a small fragment of a rock, then imagine if someone like IWA or Kumo got their hands on it. Forget the bijou, in 15 years they could have an entire army like me. Maybe less." Ibiki said, "Not something we could look forward to or handle, no offense." Naruto said, "None taken. So can you keep her safe for me?" Ibiki said, "Yeah, but where are you going?" Naruto was quiet a moment and said, "Wave." Before shoeshining away. Ibiki eyes widened and thought, "Oh shit," and screamed, "Hebe, Nico." A few moments later Anko came into the office as along with Yugugo and Ibiki said Hokage-sama sent Oni to wave, causing Anko and Yugugo to pale and both thought OHFUCK. Around midnight Kurenai looked over at Kiba, who was on one side of camp, and then she looked at the trees where Ino was sitting, and Kurenai nearly jumped out of her skin when a voice said hi. Directly behind her. Kurenai, who had jumped away, glared at Naruto, who was floating in the air, before he gently sat down on th ground and said, "You look tired. Why don't you get some sleep?" Kurenai bit her lip and said, "Not until you and I talk." Naruto sighed and said, "What is there to talk about? I freely and adamantly admit that I killed that man just as Tazuna told you. When he attacked me in front of that mob he was leading, I broke his blade and killed him with it. End of story." Kurenai frowned and said, "It was your first mission as a captain, wasn't it?" Naruto lip twitched and said, "I see I've been the topic of conversation more than once, huh? So what all do you know?" Kurenai said, "Anko told me your mission went south. Something about A." Naruto said, "Do not continue that sentence." In a commanding tone. Kurenai frowned and said, "Why?" Naruto said, "There are things that are better left dead and buried. There was a lot of things that either I can't or won't talk about with you, Hokage-sama, or anyone else. It's the reason I quit wearing a mask in honor of my family name, but instead the one I wore when we first met. Now get you some sleep, because our next fight will most likely be with Zabuza Momochi. If it is, you are to protect the client and anyone he has with him while I handle Zabuza myself." Kurenai said, "Who do you think you are? I am the same rank as you." Naruto looked at her and said, "Not on this mission you're not. You know my history, so you know who the highest ranking person I worked for is. When it comes to anything related to this, I answer only to that person." Kurenai eyes widened and thought, "What does the Fire Lord have to do with this?" Naruto bit his lip and said in a softer voice, "Please Kurenai, just drop this until we return to Konoha. I can be back to Konoha and return with written order relieving you of command and ordering you back to Konoha by dawn, which I don't want to do, but if you force me to, I will. There's just something that can't be revealed right now. You deserve your rank and deserve to be on this mission along with your team. There's just issues that can't be brought to attention in the open as we are." As he glanced at Tazuna, Kurenai bit her lip seeing him look at Tazuna and said, "If we get the chance to talk in private, I want to know the truth. This is a danger to me and my team, and I'll follow your orders for now, but you have to tell me the truth once we can talk someplace secure." Naruto sighed and said, "Very well. Get some sleep." Kurenai walked over and laid down on a bedroll, and Naruto glanced at Tazuna and then Kiba and thought, why do other people's crimes have to haunt me? The next morning, after breaking camp, the group traveled down the road for a few hours until they reached the sea. Tazuna during that time kept glaring at Naruto, who ignored it, and they came to a small cove where a boat was, and Tazuna said, "Hey, I'm back." The man in the boat, who had a hat over his head sleeping, raised his hat and sat up and said, "Took your sweat to me. What the hell is that monster doing here?" As he pointed at Naruto. Tazuna frowned and said, "I don't like him being here either, but it's either I let that killer come or we don't get any protection from the other ninja." The man on the boat said, "I refuse to let him step foot on my boat." Naruto said, "That's fine. Everyone else get in the boat." Tazuna said finally, "We don't have to deal with him." As he sat down on the boat while everyone else also did, but Team 10 looked at Naruto, who simply shook his head that it was okay. Once they were all in the boat, Naruto began to float, shocking everyone but Kurenai and Team 10, and he flew to the front of the boat and grabbed a hold of it, and before anyone had a chance to say anything, the boat began to be pulled across the water at quick speeds, causing everyone on the boat to scream or close their eyes. The normal 3-hour boat trip to Wave took only 15 minutes for the side of the bridge to appear, and then 5 more minutes before they reached the shore. To say the boatman and Tazuna were shocked was an understatement. Naruto, after pulling the boat near the shore and landing on it, waited for the two teams and Tazuna to get off before he began to walk in the direction he knew Tazuna lived. They made it to Tazuna house no problem, and Naruto stopped at the edge of the clearing where Tazuna house was and said, "All right, Team 10. You are to set up a perimeter around this house and follow Kurenai orders." Kurenai asked, "What are you going to do?" Tazuna said, "Probably going to grovel at Gato feet and beg for money to kill us all." "What's wrong? Too afraid to face the victims you hurt face to face?" Naruto ignored Tazuna and said, "We didn't encounter Zabuza," meaning he either doesn't know that his 3 partners are captured or dead, or he doesn't know that we arrived here so quickly. "I'm going to scout the island and see if I can find where he is and try to deal with him before he can make an attempt here." As he shoo-shined away after Naruto was gone, Tazuna glared at the spot he had been before. He said, "Follow me." As he walked over and opened the door and screamed, "I'm home." Team 10 and 8 walked in and saw a boy around the age of 11 glaring at the two teams as they came in, and Sakura and Ino thought, "My God, he's even more emo than Sasuke." By the way the boy dressed and looked. A female voice said, "Oh, thank God, Dad. I was so worried." As the door to the kitchen opened up and Tsunami walked out. Kurenai looked at Tsunami and blinked and thought, well, I could see why Naruto might have liked her. She could give most women a run in the looks department. Tsunami said, "Hello, I'm Tsunami, Tazuna daughter, and that's my son Inari. I thank you all for protecting my father." Kurenai said, "It's what we were hired to do, miss. I'm Kurenai Yui, and this is my team Kiba, Shino, and Yakumo. Those 3 are Ino, Sakura, and Hinata. A team that was sent to aid us after we were attacked by some missing neens." Tazuna said, "Tsunami, you might want to take a seat." As he looked away, Tsunami frowned and asked, "What's wrong, Dad?" Tazuna took a deep breath and said, "Kaisa's killer is here also." Tsunami clenched her fist as Inari screamed, "What?" Tsunami asked, "That's not funny, Dad." Tazuna looked up at her and said, "I wish I was joking. He's those 3 girls, their sensei." Pointing to Team 10, Tsunami turned to Team 10 and said, "Get out. Now, I don't want anything to do with that monster in my house." Kurenai frowned and said, "Do you want to punish them, FO?" Sakura said, "That's enough, Kurenai-sensei. If she has a problem with our sensei and us, that's fine. We can complete our mission from outside the house. The only difference is where we sleep and eat. Luckily, we've been living off the land for the last 3 months mostly, so it's not anything we can't handle. Come on." As she took the lead and walked out followed by the other 2 members of Team 10. Kiba said, "Sensei, why can't we just send him back and ask for a different team? I mean, I heard everything he told you last night and I call bullshit." There's no way he's got the right to take charge of this mission and order you around like he did. Kurenai said, I'm not so sure, Kiba. He was a genin at age 5, Chunin at age 7, Sannin apprentice at the age of 8, became a fire temple guard at the age of 10, ANBU at the age of 12 and ANBU captain at age 14 before becoming a jounin at the age of 15. He's also the Sandaime Hokage grandson. Causing the ninja to look shocked while Tazuna and his family looked angry, and Tsunami said, he's the Hokage grandson. How could you trust these people, Dad? Tazuna sighed and said, I hate it as much as you do, dear, but what can I do? I wouldn't have made it to any other village, and these 3 here did defend me against 2 men hired by Gato already, while the other 3 detected another who was working with them, and he captured that one. He openly admits he killed Kaiza and would do it again because that was what he was paid to do. As much as I hate it, it appears all those stories about ninja doing whatever they are paid to do are true. No matter what, whoever pays them is who they work for. At that moment there was a thud and sword stabbed into the door with blood on it, and everyone was shocked as they saw this, and Kurenai quickly went to the door and opened it, and paled as a short man in a business suit was seen with a sword through his heart, and which was securing him to the door, and Tazuna said, it can't be, that's Gato. Kurenai turned and saw Naruto standing a few feet away covered in blood with cuts all across his clothing, and he said, with Gato dead along with his mercenaries, protecting your client will be easier. I haven't found Zabuza yet, but I did come across him, so I took care of him. Once I can deal Zabuza, I do not see the need for my team or I to still be here, and you can continue your mission, Kurenai. Kurenai said, But, what did you do? Why did you kill them? Naruto said, I did what I had to. Team 10, keep perimeter while I go looking FO, as he fell to the ground suddenly as he began to pant. A male voice said, well. If it isn't Superman. Causing everyone to turn and see a man in the trees with a huge sword on his back. Kurenai recognized him and said, Zabuza Momochi. A rank missing, Nin. What are you doing here? If you're working for Gato, then he's dead. Zabuza said, Gato, that little pig. I could care less about him. I'm here for revenge, pure and simple, against him. As he pointed to Naruto. Naruto, who was panting, said, What are you talking about? Sakura said, Naruto-sensei, what's wrong? Why are you panting like that? Zabuza laughed and said, Because of this. As he pulled out a dagger with a green jade-looking blade. Kurenai said, What is that? As she got in a defensive stance while Tazuna, Inari, and Tsunami all looked out the window. Zabuza said, I don't know the name of this gem, but it's not jade like most would believe. In fact, it's the same gem as the Shodaime Hokage necklace that Tsunade Senju wears. I've spent nearly every day since I heard about my brother's death searching for a way to injure the so-called Man of Steel there. I've heard how his skin was hard as steel and could break most weapons on contact. I heard about his heat vision and his ability to fly and his strength and every other little piece of information I could get my hands on about him, all for my revenge. Naruto swallowed and said, What brother? I never killed anyone named Momochi before. Zabuza said, Because he took our mother's name. His name was Mucho. Naruto paled as he heard that name and glanced at Tazuna House a moment, and Zabuza, seeing that look, said, That's right. You know who he is now, don't you? He's the man you killed on this pathetic island over a year ago. Naruto said in panting breath, Shut up. If you want to kill me, then do it, but leave everyone else here alone, and let the dead finally find peace. As he fell to his knees. Zabuza said, Oh, and why should I do that? What are you trying to protect? Naruto said, The girl, the hunter Nin, she's alive. You want her, you can have her, just shut up and kill me and you can have her. Just shut up. As he fell to his hands, Zabuza frowned behind his mask and said, Blood is thicker than water. The girl is nothing more than a tool to be used and discarded. My revenge, however, will be served by not only killing you but breaking you. You want me to be silent, so that means someone here you don't want to know the truth. Now who could it be? The little Genins? Doubtful. I doubt they can even piss without having someone hold their hands, so information about someone they never met wouldn't be worth it. The Ice Queen? Possible, but I doubt it. I heard she was grass country around the time my brother came here, so that leaves the little family in the house. Now what could you possibly not want them to know about my brother? Kurenai bit her lip and said, your brother, he was an infiltration expert, wasn't he? Zabuza snickered and said, please. While his infiltration skills were good, it was his assassination skills that really got him credit. He had some famous one, but the most famous one that I think would hurt Superman would be the fact he was the killer of the daughter of the Wave Lord. At this everyone's eyes but Naruto's widened and Naruto said, shut up. Zabuza smirked behind his bandages and said, seems I hit a nerve. Yeah, you was the one who killed the Wave Lord's daughter. He was ordered by that bastard Mizukichi to kill the bitch because the Land of Wave and the Land of Fire were to merge together when the son of the Fire Lord married the Wave Lord's daughter, causing everyone to go wide-eyed. Naruto threw a couple of shurikens weakly at Zabuza, who laughed before jumping to another branch and said, looks like that drunk was right. This gem really does make you weaker and weaker the longer you are near it. Don't even think it, girls. Look at the roof of the house. I got enough exploding tags on it to kill everyone in this clearing. As he saw Team 10 getting ready to fight, Naruto pushed himself to his feet slowly and he began to slowly walk towards Zabuza, and Zabuza quickly moved and appeared in front of Naruto and kicked him in the ribs, causing Naruto to cough up blood as he flew back and hit a tree. Zabuza said, that felt good. But don't worry. I plan to kill you nice and slow by stabbing this blade in your heart and breaking it inside, just like you stabbed my brother with his broken blade in the heart. At this everyone's eyes widened and Tsunami gasped as she covered her mouth when she heard this, causing Zabuza to glance at her and said, so that's it, huh? Tell me, girl, how did you get that ring? Everyone turned to Tsunami, who looked at her ring, and Naruto weakly said, don't tell him. Zabuza turned and kicked Naruto in the face and said, shut up. He then turned and said, now answer me. As he glared at Tsunami. Tsunami said in a stutter, Kaiser, he asked me to marry him and gave me this ring. Zabuza snorted before he burst out laughing before he calmed down and said, the kid there, is he yours? Tsunami nods and Zabuza said, tell me. Did Kaiser save him after he had some kind of accident where he almost drowned, or maybe some kids bullying him, or he fall in some kind of cave nobody knowed about? Tsunami eyes widened slightly and Zabuza laughed seeing this and said, oh god, you were right. Find a lonely bitch who's got a kid and play the hero card by saving the kid and its instant access to her home, body, and giving you the perfect alibi. Naruto tried to punch Zabuza, who dodged and slammed his elbow into Naruto's gut, and Naruto coughed up some blood and said, you're wrong, Zabuza. Kaiser not your brother. I killed Kaiser because I was jealous, and I killed your brother also, as he held his ribs. Kurenai thought, shit, what can I do? I know I'm no match for him and my team can't. Wait, those aren't the girls. Those are clones. Where's Team 10 at? Zabuza turned and kicked Naruto in the face and said, nice try, asshole, but the proof's on her finger. That ring is the ring the Fire Lord's son had made for his fiancée. My brother took that ring from her cold dead hand because it's worth $4 million and was supposed to be used to pay Gato for his help. He was sent here to not only stop the union of the Land of Wave, but also weaken Wave so Kiri could send a ninja to take over the island, and he almost succeeded. He riled up the people of Wave and had them going to the warehouse where he claimed Gato men were taking over, when in fact Gato had the Wave Lord's entire army of samurai there, along with Gato security forces waiting to kill all of them. After they would have died, Kiri would have came in and seized control of Wave, and Gato would become the chief shipping company between Kiri and Wave. But then you had to ruin it by killing my brother. As he grabbed Naruto by the neck, lifting him up and stabbing Naruto in the stomach with the green blade. Naruto screamed as he felt himself being stabbed, and Zabuza, seeing this, pulled it out and stabbed Naruto again and again. Tsunami, who was in tears remembering everything that happened and now hearing the truth, screamed, stop it. Leave him alone. as she ran toward Zabuza. Kurenai, who had began doing hand signs, stopped making them and jumped in front of Tsunami and pulled her back as Zabuza turned to them and screamed, "You want to scream? Scream watching your son die." As he put his hand in a seal and said boom. As he did, everyone waited for the explosion that never came before. A kunai hit Naruto in the arm and he disappeared in a puff of smoke. Just then a kunai came from the left of the house with a shout of Kage Kuniya no Jutsu, and Zabuza pulled out his sword and blocked the kunais, only for his sword to go up in smoke, shocking Zabuza, who jumped out of the way of the other kunais. Zabuza turned and began to flash through hand signs and said water style, water dragon jutsu. As the water dragon began to head toward the house, Ino, who was on the roof of the house, jumped at the dragon, shocking everyone until Ino hit the dragon and it exploded into a shower of water and electricity. Zabuza said a Raiton Bunchin before he jumped on the small stream in front of Tazuna House and flashed through hand signs and said hidden mist jutsu. From inside the mist, Zabuza said, "Now you can't use Raiton jutsu or you will take the chance of hitting your client and allies." Hinata said Mizu Bunshin no jutsu. As the mist began to clear, forming 20 water clones of Hinata, who charged at Zabuza, who began to charge them when Sakura shouted Earth-style, Mud River Jutsu. As the ground, Zabuza was on turn to mud, and he began to be pushed toward the trees, where Ino jumped up flashing through hand signs and said Lightning Armor no Jutsu. Zabuza, hearing this, replaced himself, and as he did, Hinata threw a kunai at him and flashed through hand signs and said Kage Kunai no Jutsu. Zabuza jumped down and was pounced on by the Hinata water clones, which he began to fight when Ino threw a kunai and said Kage Kunai no Jutsu. As her kunais hit the Hinata Mizu Bunshin, and then they all exploded in water and electricity, with Zabuza in the middle of them, and he screamed as his left arm was hit by electricity before a shout of Kage Kunai no Jutsu was heard from Sakura, who was above him, and he replaced himself and said, "Damn it. Who the fuck teaches Genin the fucking Kage Kunai no Jutsu?" Hinata screamed, "Shino." Now. Zabuza, who turned to Hinata when she screamed, began to feel something crawling on him, and he looked and saw bugs crawling on him and realized what was happening. He jumped into the water below when a kunai hit him in the back, with another hitting him in the left arm and another in the right arm, coming from 3 different directions, and he screamed as he was trapped in a water prison with electricity running through his left arm, and Katan chakra running through his right before he passed out. All 3 girls appeared with sword out and stab into the water prison, with Ino going for the brain, Sakura the throat, and Hinata the heart, all 3 killing him nearly instantly. Teammate was shocked as they saw this, and Kurenai thought, "I can't believe they just did that. They just killed an A-rank missing Nin and saved all our lives. Wait. Where's Naruto?" Hinata turned and ran over to the kunai beside the tree Naruto had been on and said, "He's sealed in this. We need to get him to some place we can begin treating him, and fast." Ino said, "Fuck the bitch. Get Sensei inside and start treating him. If they have a problem, then tell them to send a letter to the Hokage. I'm going to get this fucked up kunai out of here since it seems to hurt Sensei." As she grabbed it and ran into the woods, Hinata began to run into the house when Inari said, "Stop. Let him die," as he blocked the door. Tsunami said, "Inari, move." Inari blinked and said, "But Moam." Tsunami said, "No, Inari. I'll explain later, but move now." Inari quickly moved while glaring at Hinata, and then Sakura as Shino appeared back in the clearing, and Kiba said, "What the hell just happened?" Kurenai said, "I want to know that as well." Yakumo said, "I cast a genjutsu over the area where Team 10 was, and they created a clone each to replace themselves while they got to the roof and disarmed the exploding notes. That was when Zabuza threatened them because he detected the chakra usage and thought they were the ones doing it." Shino said, "I had placed a tracking bug on each of them, and they realized it and sent a message to me with one of my bugs to wait for their signal and then have them start draining chakra from Zabuza." Yakumo said, "After that, I don't know what happened exactly. I never seen team work that way. They attacked each other to trap and weaken Zabuza." Sakura shouted, "Hey, we need some help." Kurenai went inside and saw Naruto on the floor with Hinata on one side and Sakura on the other with both their hands glowing green, and Sakura said, "Until Ino gets back we need someone to apply pressure to that bottom cut so he doesn't bleed to death, while we heal his other injuries." Kurenai quickly placed her hand on his stomach and then looked at Naruto, who was extremely pale, and then frowned as she saw where Tazuna had burned Naruto the day before and thought he acted like he wasn't injured at all when his skin was burned like that. "Why were you hiding the truth? Do you care for Tsunami that much?" As she glanced at Tsunami, who was sitting with Inari on her lap at the kitchen table. A few minutes later Ino returned sweating and she said, "Report." Sakura said, "He's been stabbed several times, but his vitals were not hit as far as I can tell, but his intestines were sliced severely and stomach acid has leaked out of them. We've closed a wound each and working on removing the acid before it does too much damage, but he's still got a stab wound that is bleeding and leaking stomach acid." Ino said, "Right, Hinata, start looking at the organs around the stomach and see if any have any injuries from that blade or acid. Also look for any slivers from that crystal. It was nearly as weak as glass, so a sliver could have gotten broke off in one of the wounds. Sakura, take over acid patrol on Hinata wound also while I fix this last wound." As she moved Kurenai's hand before her hands started to glow green with medical chakra. After nearly 20 minutes all three girls were to the point of passing out and Sakura said, "That's all we can do. Most of the damage has been healed or contained." Kurenai said, "You three have done an amazing job. Go get some rest. You earned it." All three nodded and Sakura and Ino fell asleep on the floor and Hinata stayed right there, and Tsunami said, "We got beds you could use." Hinata said, "We don't trust you. You might try and kill Sensei." As she fought to stay awake. Kiba said, "How did you three do that?" Hinata said, "Please be quiet. I'm tired, got a headache and I got PMS. I will cut off your balls and shove them down your throat." Everyone was looking at Hinata in shock and Kiba quickly moved away and thought, "It's always the quiet ones you have to look out for." The next day Naruto was sleeping on a bed that Tsunami had allowed him to have. Sakura, Ino, Hinata, Kiba, Shino, and Yakumo were all at the bridge guarding Tazuna and Inari, who couldn't stand being in the house with Naruto while Kurenai watched over Naruto. Tsunami walked up the stairs with a tray of food and asked, "How is he?" Kurenai said, "He seems to be recovering as his wounds are healed, but he lost a lot of blood as well as the damage he received from Zabuza." Tsunami frowned and asked, "Why did he get so weak like that from that blade?" Kurenai was quiet a few moments and looked at Naruto and asked, "Why are you here?" Tsunami blinked and said, "Excuse me, I live here." Kurenai laughed and said, "Sorry, I meant why are you being nice to him? I thought you wanted nothing to do with him." Tsunami bit her lip and looked at her hand where the ring was and said, "There is a chance that I could be wrong about what was really going on. I need to know his side of the story." Kurenai said, "Good luck there. I've been trying to get it ever since he first seen your father and your dad attacked him." Tsunami eyes widened and said, "He what?" Kurenai pointed to the scar on Naruto's chest and said, "You see that burn? Your dad picked up a log out of the fire and hit Naruto with it, who just stood there, and took it after your dad stabbed him with a broken sake bottle. Both times someone else tried to stop your dad, but Naruto ordered them to let Tazuna do what he wants. He admitted that he killed Kaiza openly and freely and claimed if he had the choice he would do the same again." Tsunami bit her lip and asked, "Who is he, really? I mean, when he was here before I thought he was this sweet little teen, but now, I don't know what to think." Kurenai looked down and said truthfully, "I don't really know him. I know what I've been told by others I trust and I know what I have seen of him and what my gut tells me, but I really don't know him." Tsunami asked, "Well, could you tell me what you can? I'm so confused." Kurenai laughed and said, "Join the club. I don't know if I want to kill him or shake his hand and thank him most of the time, but yeah, I can tell you some of what I know. He's had a hard life. He was adopted by the Sandaime because his parents died fighting the Kyuubi. He grew up believing his adopted parents were his real parents. When he was 4, his stepmother died giving birth to his little brother, and when he was 5, his stepfather was murdered in front of him. Tsunami gasped as she covered her mouth, and Kurenai continued that night he learned from the man who killed his stepfather that he was in fact adopted, and then the assassin went to kill him, and by accident Naruto killed the assassin. Tsunami looked at Naruto with shock and worry. Kurenai felt a tug in her chest and said he was forced to become a ninja after that. While other kids were learning tag and hide and seek, he was learning fighting and killing. He was forced through the ranks pretty quickly until his godfather came and took him away from the village and made him his apprentice. But from what I hear, that man mentally and emotionally hurt him. Tsunami asked how. Kurenai said he took him to whorehouses and left him in the lobby for hours or days while his godfather went off to get laid and God knows what else. Imagine it. A child being forced to see prostitutes using their bodies and seduction skills on any guy that passes by or walks in, and he was forced to watch it. From what I am told, someone tried to help fix his dislike of women, and now he only sees women in 4 categories: their clients, kunoichi, mothers, and whores. Tsunami bit her lip, and Kurenai said that was until he met you. Tsunami blinked and asked, "What do you mean?" Kurenai looked at Naruto and said, "I don't know this for sure, but with what happened yesterday and with what I was told by a friend who was here in Wave when you and him met, but he saw you as different. How or why I don't know, but from what I was told, he had a crush on you, or maybe he loved you. I can't say for sure, but he seemed very adamant about keeping the truth about whatever happened from you. Most likely to protect you." Tsunami asked, "What do you mean? I'm so confused," as she clenched her hands into her dress. Kurenai looked at her and said, Naruto's voice startled them and said, "Because you were different from every woman I knew until then," causing both women to blush and look at him as he laid there with his eyes half-lidded. Kurenai looked back and forward and said, "I'll give you some privacy," as she stood up. Naruto said, "No. I promised you the truth and I keep my promises. There's not much use in keeping my secrets now that Zabuza told so much. What happened to him?" Kurenai said, "Your team and some of mine worked together and killed him." Naruto said, "I see. I guess I can start with the beginning of why I was in Wave to begin with. My team was sent here to investigate the murder of the Wave Lord's daughter. It was my first mission as a team captain, and my team investigated the body and then heard the only thing that had been touched was she had her neck cut while she was asleep, and her murderer took her engagement ring. There was no other trace of anything we could use to find her killer, so we began to look for info on anyone who seemed suspicious or the ring. It wasn't much to go on, so I had my team split up and take a different part of the island. I was looking around dressed in my civilian clothes when I saw your bag fall apart and all your groceries rolled away with an apple rolling near me, so I came to help you get them. I don't usually talk to women, but I was taught to be polite, so when I offered to help I didn't think nothing of it, and I was planning to leave as soon as I did to get back to work. But you offered to let me eat with your family, and I saw Inari, so I thought that you would fit in the category as a mother. I trust mothers in general, since they will usually do anything to take care of their children and look out for their well-being, and since you were trusting me as a stranger with your children's safety at risk, I trusted you. Playing with Inari reminded me of playing with my brother Konohamaru, and being a guest I wanted to not be a burden, so I offered to help with the dishes, and, talking with you and Tazuna and Inari, I felt content. I'd never been fishing before, and when Inari asked me to go I felt for the first time I could be normal, and the way you treated me, not as a child, not as a ninja, or a John, I started to feel something. I didn't know what it was, but the more time around you and your family, the more happy I felt. I actually forgot about my mission and about being a ninja. For a few days I felt like normal. I made a vow to myself that I would do whatever it took to protect that feeling. Then when Kaiser returned and I saw how happy you were when he asked you to marry you, I knew that this wasn't my place, that you didn't need me to protect your happiness. I had planned to make the story my godfather had arrived and left the next day when you showed me the ring, and that brought the world of reality back to me." Tsunami bit her lip as Kurenai watched on, and Naruto said, "A million thoughts went through my mind. Maybe he found it, maybe he bought it, maybe it wasn't the right ring. I had so many thoughts, but as a ninja I had to prepare for the worst, so I asked him where he got it. He told you it was a family heirloom. That made him my #1 suspect. But I didn't want to ruin your happiness, so I began to watch him. I contacted my team and then my team got a message the Wave Lord wanted to see us. We arrived at his palace and Gato was there. Gato had told the Wave Lord that his men had seen you with the ring and that the hero of Wave had given you the ring. He was furious that someone would wear the ring that belonged to his only child. He ordered my team to kill you, Tsunami, and to capture Kaiza. I nearly caused an international incident when I told him no. He was furious and ordered his men to kill me, so I quickly told him if we killed you and captured Kaiza, then we would lose the only lead we had to his daughter's killer, which is what we were there to do. He didn't like my answer, but he reluctantly agreed, but I knew we didn't have much time before he sent his own men to kill you, so I had one of my team confront Kaiza for questioning. Kaiza told her that he got the ring from one of Gato Man and that he lied to you about the ring so that you wouldn't know that he got it in a poker game against Gato Man. She asked which man and Kaiza told her it was one of Gato bodyguards. Tsunami asked, but if it was one of his guard then? Naruto held up his hand and said, please, let me finish. My team of course went to investigate this, but we got called back to the Wave Lord's palace again and Gato was there. He claimed that Kaiza had been gathering the people of Wave and attacking his warehouses and was asking for protection from the Wave Lord. He kept throwing the fact that Kaiza, the man who had his daughter ring, was leading the people in revolt against the peace of Wave. The Wave Lord, still consumed with grief, wanted an example made. He gave Gato 2/3 of his guards and ordered my team to go with Gato and kill all those who attacked the warehouse and make an example out of them to show what all those who conspired against him would face. I had to find out the truth, so I came back here and I waited for Kaiza, but all my hope that Gato was wrong went out the window when he asked you and your family to get the people of Wave to help him. I knew that if you made it to the warehouse, all of you would be killed. I couldn't let that happen, so I went against my orders and confronted you all well before you ever got to the warehouse, where the rest of my team and over 400 men were ready to slaughter you. I tried desperately to get you to turn around, to stop. But then Kaiza said it was me who he was attacking people. When he did, I noticed something I never noticed before. He began to mold his chakra. When he attacked me with a weapon that was enhanced with chakra to make it easier to kill, something a ninja was trained to do, since I knew at that moment he wasn't who he claimed to be and I did what I was trained to do. Forgetting everything else but my training, I treated him as any other ninja I faced in battle and I killed him. Tsunami had tears in her eyes and Kurenai was watching sadly, and Naruto said it wasn't until I heard your scream that I remember the crowd and you. When you attacked me, I felt every hit, but your words hurt me more than anything else had ever did before. I became a coward and ran. I ordered my team to abort and told Gato and his men that I killed the leader of the mob. I went to the Lord of Wave and told him I found his daughter killer and killed him in combat, but destroyed his body. I told him that Kaiza was just a man who got a ring in a card game thinking it was a cheap piece of jewelry that he could give you as an engagement ring and that the ring wouldn't bring back his daughter and he should let you keep it. But that was when Gato pulled out a bingo book and told the Wave Lord that I was lying. He turned the bingo book to a page and it showed a picture of Kaiza and that he was a ninja of the Land of Water. He told the Wave Lord that I had made a fool of him and that the only reason I wanted you to keep the ring because I wanted it for my own. I called him a liar, and the Wave Lord, seeing the book and hearing Gato words, said he believed Gato. He told me that he would test my words and that if the ring disappeared or you died, then he would cut all ties to my village and the Land of Fire as well as kill you and your family if they were alive. He then wanted revenge and gave Gato complete control to do as he pleased to the Land of Wave to make the people of Wave suffer for conspiring against him and being accessories for the murder of his daughter. He then ordered me and my team to leave immediately. Naruto closed his eyes and said there was nothing I could do. If I told you the truth, then you and your family would be killed since you wouldn't want the ring. I couldn't face you knowing the pain I caused you, and I couldn't go against the Wave Lord's orders or my village and country would suffer. All I could do is let you keep the memory of the man you fell for and let you hate me for taking him away. As he turned his head away, Tsunami, who had her eyes closed, got up and turned her back and walked out the door silently, but Naruto, hearing, heard the tears hit the floor, and with each one his heart broke. Kurenai waited until she was gone and looked at Naruto and said, "I'm sorry." Naruto swallowed and said, "No, it's me who should be sorry. I let my emotions get the best of me, and because of that the people of Wave have suffered under Gato control. What good is having all these powers if all I do is cause pain to the innocent?" Kurenai thought, "And to the ones you care for. I think I understand you a little better now, Naruto." As she got up and placed her hand on his shoulder and said, "If you want someone to talk to, I'm here for you. I'm going to check on our teams and make sure nobody killed Kiba yet." Naruto chuckled and said, "Yeah, I'll be alright. I'll just lay here and rest." Kurenai nods and leaves the room, and she walked into the kitchen and saw Tsunami silently cutting some vegetables, and Kurenai said, "I'm going to go to the bridge and check on the teams." Tsunami bit her lip and said, "How long are you going to be gone so I know when to start dinner?" Kurenai said, "Probably a couple of hours. I want my team to work on water walking and see if Naruto team knows it. Will you be alright?" Tsunami said, "Yeah, it's hard to find out the person you hated loved you so much and the person you loved only used you. I'm confused." Kurenai said, "I wish I knew what to tell you." Tsunami said, "It's alright, life goes on. I have my father and my son." Kurenai put her hand on Tsunami's shoulder and then left. Naruto was resting when he heard footsteps and thought Tsunami. The door to the room opened and Tsunami walked in and silently closed the door, but to Naruto the door could have squeaked a million times as he waited to find out what Tsunami wanted. To say he was surprised when he felt something brush his lips was an understatement, as he felt a second kiss on his lips with more force than the first, and Naruto opened his eyes and saw Tsunami's face in his vision, and she leaned down and kissed him again, which he returned reluctantly at first and then with more feeling until both began to kiss with passion. Naruto felt her pull away and looked at her as she stood up and then reached for the shoulders of her dress and pushed them over till her dress fell to the floor, causing his eyes to go wide and whisper in an unsure voice, "Tsunami." Tsunami smiled and said, "You care for me and went through so much pain because of it that I want to show you that it wasn't wasted for nothing. Please, let me make love to you." Naruto's mouth went dry and said, "It's me who should be asking if I can make love to a beautiful woman like you." Tsunami blushed and said, "Well, you can," as she leaned down and kissed him as she crawled on the bed gently. Several hours later, when Team 8 and 10 returned with Tazuna and Inari screamed, "Mom, Mom, where are you?" as he began to look around. Hinata activated her bloodline and her eyes widened and said, "Your mom asleep, Inari, and so is Naruto-sensei. They should be left alone for the night. I'll cook dinner." As her face was blushing, Kurenai blinked and Inari said, "But she's not in her room." Kurenai's eyes widened and thought, "Oh my," and said, "Well, she just passed out making sure Naruto doesn't die. Isn't that right, Hinata?" Hinata was thankful and said, "Yes, sensei." Inari said, "But why is she worried if he dies or not? He killed Kaiza." Tazuna sighed and said, "Inari, Kaiza tricked us all. Those kids that killed your dog, they were hired to buy Kaiza. He used us so people won't know he killed the Wave Lord's daughter. Naruto must have found out and killed him for his crimes like he was paid to do. Just like he was paid to protect us, he killed Gato and his men." Kurenai said, "It's what we do. We do what we were paid to do, and Naruto was paid to find the Wave Lord's daughter killer and bring him to justice, which is what he did." Inari said, "So he's not a bad guy, but a good guy." Tazuna looked up at the ceiling and said, "I think you, Mom, now that she knows the truth, thinks he a very good guy," with a perverted smirk on his face. Kiba's eyes went wide just understanding, and Shino said, "Be smart for once and keep your mouth shut, Kiba." Kiba thought, "Who the hell did I piss off to be the idiot?" The next day Naruto awoke and found himself alone in the bed, and a small smile came to his face as he remembered the events of the previous day. Sitting up he winced and thought, "Shit, my stomach." A knock on the door caught his attention and he said, "Come in." Kurenai opened the door and said, "Hello, Naruto, how are you doing?" Naruto said, "I'm still recovering. most of my stomach muscles have severe damage to them. I'm not going to be doing anything really until I can get proper medical care. Kurenai said, oh really, so you can't do much huh? Tsunami sure seems to think you can. Naruto blushed and said I was mostly a log. I feel bad about that since I couldn't do much when she worked so hard for me. Where's everyone? Kurenai said at the bridge. Tsunami went to help at the bridge like nearly everyone in Wave is to help their country. Naruto smiled a little and then he frowned as he saw the ring on the nightstand and said, Kurenai, how many people know about me being here? Kurenai said, not many I think, I can't really say. Naruto bit his lip and said, I need you to keep everyone as quiet as possible about me being here, especially injured like I am. Tsunami and her family are still in danger. Kurenai started to say something when she realized what he meant and said the Wave Lord. Naruto nods and said there's more going on here than what you know. More than I mentioned yesterday. It is important that the bridge is completed at all cost. I need you to make sure Tsunami keeps wearing that ring there until it is finished. There's a place here in Wave I know about that I can hide. I need everyone to think that I have been recalled. I need you to take charge of my girls until the bridge is finished. Can you do that for me? Kurenai said I can, but you got to tell me why. Tsunami's going to be hurt by this. Naruto looked at her and then closed his eyes and said I've already resigned to a life of her hating me as long as she lives. If I stay she will be killed, and if I tried to stop it then it could cost Konoha a lot of trouble. Kurenai frowned and said fine, but you owe me. Naruto said thank you, now I need to go before everyone returns. As he tried to get up and winced and Kurenai moved to his side and helped him up and said you really should rest Naruto. Naruto said don't you know, I'm Superman. After he stood up, Kurenai grabbed his arm and said you're still human, no matter how special you might be. Don't throw away your life being stupid. Naruto smiled sadly and said thank you. Before he walked to the window and opened it up before he began to fly slowly out the window. After he was gone Kurenai sighed and sat down on the bed and thought so much trouble for a stupid rock. As she looked at the ring, the question of is she was referring to the ring or the asteroid is one only she knew the answer to. That afternoon when everyone arrived back at Tazuna House Sakura asked how is Naruto-sensei doing Kurenai-sensei. Kurenai, who was drinking a glass of water, set it down on the table and said I'm afraid that since the immediate threat is over with Gato dead as well as his men that Naruto has been recalled for another matter. He asked me to take charge of his team until he returns or the mission finishes. He also asked me to pass a private message to you Tsunami. Ino said but Sensei was still injured and shouldn't even be traveling. Kurenai said I know but we can't always be at 100% for a mission. Sometimes there will be times you will come back from a mission injured and have to leave immediately regardless of your condition. Everyone seemed sad about that and Tsunami said please go ahead and tell me what he said Kurenai-san so I could start preparing dinner. Kurenai said I already prepared dinner and it should be finished soon, but are you sure you want to hear it here and not in private? Tsunami said no. Everyone here already knows what happened between me and him last night, so there is no reason to try and hide it. Kurenai said very well. He asked me to remind you about what the Wave Lord's test was about his character. Tsunami blinked and then her eyes widened and said I believe I know what you're talking about. Kurenai said he asked me to have you continue as you would have if he had not shown up and the truth being revealed as well as keep what happened between you and him a secret from others until the bridge is finished. It was a little more than that but you get the general idea. Tsunami closed her eyes and said I don't want to but I will, only until the bridge is finished. Kurenai said that was all he asked. Hinata said so what should we do Kurenai-sensei? Kurenai thought a moment and said how are you three on Genjutsu? As she looked at Team 10. 2 weeks later, the last of the cement for the bridge had just been set in place for the last section of the bridge. Tazuna took off his hat and wiped the sweat off his head with a rag he pulled out of his pocket and said there, it's finally finished. Wave will no longer be able to fall under the control of an evil man such as Gato again. A voice from above everyone said I couldn't agree more to Zuna. Catching everyone's attention. Everyone looked up and there was several gasps as Naruto was seen floating in the air above the bridge 20 feet up, and several people screamed and cursed at Naruto, who had his arms crossed. After 10 minutes of him not moving and the people lost some of their anger, one man said, "What are you doing here, monster?" Another voice said, "That is something I want to know as well, as I seem to recall banishing you from these lands." Causing everyone to look at the end of the bridge and saw the Wave Lord standing there along with several of his samurai. Murmurs broke out as they heard this and saw him standing there, and Naruto said, "You seem to have forgotten something very important." The moment this bridge was connected to the Land of Fire, Wave Country became part of the Land of Fire and answers to the Fire Lord now, as per the agreement you made with the Fire Lord before your daughter was killed. I am merely waiting on the Fire Lord to arrive in less than 5 minutes to view his new colony. Everyone's eyes but Tazuna widened at this, and the Wave Lord said that agreement was only filled if my daughter had married the Fire Lord's son, which she didn't since she was murdered by that so-called hero Kaiza. The proof is on that woman's finger there. My daughter engagement ring taken from her dead body. The people of Wave couldn't believe what they were hearing. Many wanted to call out that the Wave Lord was wrong, but fearing for their life they wouldn't. Naruto said, "Look at yourself, Wave Lord. Do you think your daughter would have wanted you to become the monster you are now? The same monster who ordered me and my team to kill Tazuna and his family. The same monster who ordered me and my team to kill all the people who were going to Gato warehouse that day. The same man who gave Gato orders to make these people suffer by taxing them to death and blockading their island, selling those who couldn't pay into slavery, and murdering anyone who stood against them. I admit I killed Kaiza, but I only did it because I was saving all these people's lives, because you had an army of over 400 men ready to kill them that day waiting at the warehouse. Kaiza won that ring from Gato's men in a card game. I tried to tell you, but you refused to listen because Gato played you for a fool. I told you I had killed the real killer of your daughter, but you refused to listen. I was forced to make a choice, kill one innocent man or let hundreds die when they went to stop Gato man who Kaiza had saw attacking the real owner of the warehouse, forcing him to sign it over to Gato. I have made my statement of the events that happened here, Fire-sama. With this bridge completed, the chosen symbol your son and future daughter-in-law had chosen to show their union, you are the rightful ruler of these people now. I ask that you judge what should be done now. Everyone turned to where they saw Naruto bowing and saw the Fire Lord along with the several samurai and fire guardians, and the Wave Lord said, "This is an outrage. The Fire Lord has no say in." The Fire Lord said, "Be silent, Wave-san. My former fire guardian here has already sent me the contract you made with Gato, giving him the right to blockade and tax these people, you a grieving father. I know what you must feel is painful, but you have no right to cause these people I see before me this kind of pain and suffering. Your daughter would not want that, and out of her memory I will not allow you to continue this path. As the new Lord of Wave, I hereby name this bridge the Tsunami Bridge, named after your late daughter. May her name bring prosperity to these people like a tidal wave washing away their sorrow." The Wave Lord screamed in, "Oh, kill them, kill these people." Naruto appeared in front of the samurai, who began to pull their weapons, and said, as a representative of the Fire Lord as well as a ninja hired to protect the bridge builder, "I will not allow you to pass." The Wave Lord said, "Kill this man first." The samurai moved quickly and tried to kill Naruto, keyword, tried. As each blade made contact with Naruto's skin, the blades broke or shattered. When everyone saw this, Naruto said, "What are your orders, your lordship?" The Fire Lord said, "Wave-san, please stand down. I will allow you to keep your guards so they may guard you in your home so that you may finally mourn your daughter's passing in peace, but you and they are not allowed to cause any more harm to these people." The Wave Lord frowned and looked at his men who were looking unsure, and then at the people of Wave who were on the bridge, and when his eyes landed on Tsunami and the ring she had on, he pulled out a dagger and screamed, "I'll kill you," as he charged at her. Naruto did not move as the Wave Lord ran past him, and Naruto closed his eyes. Team 10 started to move to intercept him when Naruto said, "Stand down, team." The Wave Lord was only 5 feet from Tsunami when Naruto appeared in front of her and grabbed the Wave Lord hand with the dagger. Naruto with his back to Tsunami and his eyes still closed and said, "Tsunami-san, I am truly sorry for the pain I caused you when I killed your fiancé and every day since then. He was a great man and a hero to these people. I know you cannot forgive me and I have no right to ask this of you, but will you allow the symbol of love your fiancé got for you to return to its original family so that this grieving father may find some closure?" Tsunami thought, "So this is why you wanted me to keep wearing it. He's taking the blame and keeping Kai's honor. But why? Oh, he's doing it so the people of Wave don't blame me or my family." And walked forward, removing the ring from her finger, and said, "I am truly sorry for your loss, your lordship. Had I known this ring was your daughter's first, I would never have accepted it, even from the man I was to marry. I hope that this ring can bring you peace and comfort for the rest of your life as it is mine since the day Kiaz died." As she bowed while holding the ring out, the Wave Lord, who was glaring at Naruto, frowned as he heard Naruto words and then Tsunami's statement, and he looked at the ring and took a deep breath to calm himself and said, "Thank you," as he took the ring after Naruto let go of his hand. He then turned and began to walk away in silence, followed by his samurai guards. The Fire Lord said, "Now then, I think the people of Wave have a reason to celebrate. As such, I will be sending 3 caravans here over the next month with food and supplies to help get you all back up on your feet." The crowd began to cheer while Naruto whispered to Tsunami, "I am truly sorry for everything." Tsunami smiled and said, "I already forgave you." Softly, Naruto smiled slightly and said, "I must go now. I have duties elsewhere." Tsunami said, "I know. Will I ever see you again?" Naruto said, "Perhaps." Tsunami smiled as Naruto began to float in the air and fly away. Kurenai walked up beside Tsunami and said, "You're just going to let him go?" Tsunami said, "He's a hero, and a hero always rides off into the sunset in search of the next damsel in distress." Kurenai looked at the figure of Naruto disappearing in the distance right into the sunset and thought, "Maybe you're right." The end.